Aloha, aloha ahiahi kako. Welcome to the Office of Hawaiian Affairs, the Board of Trustees meeting for the island of Oʻahu. At this time, before we get started, we'd like to invite our Senior Director of Hawaiian Cultural Affairs, the one and only Hailama Farrington, to set our evening in Pule.
Mahalo Chair, aloha Trustees, aloha. E ke kaiaulu o Nānākuli, Waiʻanae, pela vale aku ko kako ohana. E hoʻomalu kako e Pule kako. E ke ali I ka makuala niki I ke loa o ko ke ao holokoa. E ia hoi mākou kaupo e ohana, I ako ko mei nei I mua ko walo, malalo ke ia malu, ke ia wahi nei o Kalanihoʻokahā, no ke ia ana ke o kako wa paulo o hoi o anti-agi. Ke aloha nui ke kula o ka meha, nani ko kua ke ia wahi nei, ke kaiaulu o Nānākuli me Waiʻanae nei, ke kua nao I hawi mai mako ka ike ka nao ao e ho kōpono I ke I hala wai nei I mua o na kahu wai a me na lima ko kua o ke Nānākuli an Hawaiʻi. Me na hoa I ako ko mai nei, mai ka aha olelo, mai na aina like ole, mai na wahi like ole ke kua, nao e malama I mako. Opo mai ka iko I ka mea ai I ho mako kau ia, me na lima I ho mako kau aku ai. Ke kua, e koko mai mako I loko na, I na pōpili kia paha I loko mako, pakahi a pau ke kua, nao e hoi ke ho'opolo lei ko mako no ana. E kia kua alakai, a pau kakako halawai ke ia ahiahi, e hoi ai mako ko mako wahi kupono. Makaino kau keiki hiwa o Yesu Kristo ka uleo pule, a ue kalakala e nei a oe. Amene. Mahalo.
Mahalo, Hailama. Okay, we are calling tonight's meeting to order of the Office of Hawaiian Affairs Board of Trustees. Let the record reflect that today is Tuesday, September 23rd, and it is currently 6:20 p.m. Board Secretary, please call the roll. Present. All right, thank you, Lehua. And tonight's meeting, we do have a few little technical glitches. However, our meeting will be and should be broadcast on Olelo TV channel 49 and will be available also via live stream. And to watch online, please go to www.oha.org/livestream or go to OHA's YouTube and on our Facebook pages. Trustees and all in attendance, just a couple housekeeping reminders is to silence your cell phones. We'd like to remind everyone to conduct ourselves with decorum and respect, especially our speakers, who will be recognized by the chair during our meetings. At this time, I'd like to ask each trustee to introduce themselves and their staff at this time, and we'll start with our trustee from Kauai, Trustee Danahuna.
Delina mai me ke aloha o Danahuna ko uinoa no kapa'a mai au. My name is Danahuna. I represent the islands of Kauai and Ni'ihau. And with me today is two of my office staff. I have Yvonne Mahelona and Anuhea Diamond. And I want to thank you all for being here tonight. Looks like a great crowd. Thank you.
Trustee Souza.
Aloha mai kako, Keone Souza, Vice Chair of the Office of Hawaiian Affairs. I'd like to introduce Rochelle Kim, who's with me, my aide, here tonight. Look forward to being out here, talking stories with you folks, hearing your concerns, and also the celebrations, the good stuff too. We like here tonight too, yeah. So, aloha.
Mahalo, Trustee. Aloha, my name is Kai Kahele. I represent Hawaii Island, Moko Keawe. As Hawaii Island's trustee, with me, my staff today is our Deputy Chief of Staff, Alena Ayung, as well as our Board Secretary, Lehua Itokazu. And I want to just mahalo all of you for coming tonight, especially our local area representatives, our neighborhood board members, the chair of the Department of Hawaiian Homelands, and the other government officials that have also joined our community tonight. So mahalo for joining us. We're excited to hear from you and from your community. Trustee Akaka. Oh, we go last. Okay, well, let's go down to Trustee Alapa. Or I was going to work this way. Yeah, Trustee Alapa.
Testing. Oh, here we go. Aloha, everyone. My name is Luana Alapa. I'm representative for the trustee for the islands of Molokai and Lanai. So happy to be here, and this is the first time I've ever been into this particular property, and it is stunning and it's beautiful. And thank you so much for welcoming us this evening. Mahalo.
Trustee Akina.
Hokaleo, hokamanu, everybody. E ho'i mai, e pili. We got to stop there. Too much fun. Aloha mai kako. I'm Keli'i Akina, and my heart is just overflowing as I look at all of you. Friends from long ago, the stomping ground of my youth, my old companion, Glenn Keela. Just wonderful to be with all of you today. I'd like you to meet my assistant. I'm the trustee at large, Keli'i Akina, and my assistant is Remy Keli'i Ho'omalu. Remy, where are you? Over there. Okay. And mahalo for coming. And please, we need your mana'o. We really do. And I respect the fact that you took time to come tonight. Mahalo.
Excuse me, I forgot one thing. Please welcome my secretary, Summer. Where's Summer Soar? Summer, you're on. She's around here, but she's here, and I didn't come alone. Mahalo.
Let's jump to trustee and our chair emerita, Hulu Lindsay from Maui.
Aloha mai kako. It's so good to be down in Nānākuli again. This is my 14th year down here. With me this evening is my aide, Kanani Iaya. So we mahalo you for coming out this evening, spending the evening with us. We'd like to hear from you. If you have any concerns or anything of interest for us, let us know. I also bring to you the warm aloha from the people of Maui.
Okay, it's now my honor to introduce the trustee for the island of Oʻahu for the OHA Board of Trustees, and that's Kalehikina Akaka.
Mahalo nui. Aloha no and aloha pumehana kako. Mahalo anui for joining us this evening. I'm honored to serve as your Oʻahu trustee. My name is Kalea Kaka, and I'm so thankful that you all chose to join us this evening. And it's really important that we are able to be in our community to stay on the needs and the pulse of the needs and concerns of our community, as well as the celebration. So we look forward to hearing your mana'o and hearing what's working and where we can collaborate more on. Mahalo.
Okay, at this time, I would like to recognize and introduce to all of you a new face to the Office of Hawaiian Affairs, and that would be OHA's new Chief Operations Officer, Keishan Kikina, who is going to give a brief introduction and then an OHA update for all of you.
Mahalo nui, Chair. Aloha mai kako, Keishan Kikina koinoa, no wailua mai ao. With us tonight, we have a long list of admin members. We have Hailama Farden, Senior Director of Hawaiian Cultural Affairs. We have Ku'ike Kamakea Ohelo, Director of Oiwi Wellbeing, and Aina Mamona. We have Bill Brennan, Communications Director, Chantel Belay, Grants Manager, Mira Alokoa, Beneficiary Services Agent, Star Kaili Kane, Beneficiary Services Agent, Kaimo Molestine, Beneficiary Services Agent, Ilima Kela, Beneficiary Services Manager, Guy Moriwaki, Director of Technology, Mark Nabori, Safety and Facilities Officer, Nelson Gaspar, Multimedia Designer, Jason Lees, Multimedia Designer, Arlene Aguilano, Systems Engineer and Admin, Kyle Sassier, Systems Engineer and Admin. Is there anyone that we did not acknowledge from administration here? Mahalo nui iao koa pau.
Okay, mahalo nui loa Keishan, and as you can see, we brought out many of our OHA staff. We currently number about a little over 130 full-time staff across the entire OHA enterprise. That includes locations on every island and staff and lahui support on every island. At this time, sure. And if there's anyone here that's part of the OHA administration, yeah, if you can, Ohana, can you please raise your hands and stand? I know we mentioned your names, but please raise your hand if you're here with your OHA staff, just to give everyone an idea. These are the people that make everything work behind the scenes for all of us and support the Board of Trustees and the Office of Foreign Affairs, and ultimately all of you as our beneficiaries. So at this time, we have a presentation for you that Keishan is going to present, and I believe we're going to bring it up on the screen here. And it is the Island Community Report for the island of Oʻahu. Keishan.
Mahalo nui, Chair. Mahalo nui, Trustees. So on the screen, you're going to see a lot of text. I am going to highlight some of the programs that we are a part of and that we are doing well with. So that will be more of the highlights that we want to stick to. But I'm excited to share updates on 3 direct serving programs funded by the Office of Hawaiian Affairs that are providing significant impact to the Waiʻanae Coast community in areas of education, health and well-being, and economic resilience. Due to time constraints, the programs and services I'll be sharing this evening are just a few examples of numerous efforts that OHA has funded to ensure that we are bettering the conditions of Native Hawaiians. OHA wants to ensure that our keiki are healthy, thriving, and building a strong Native Hawaiian identity as called out in OHA's strategic plan. So over that 15-year plan, Manaʻi Mauliola, under health outcomes, to this end, the Office of Hawaiian Affairs has invested $250,000 over 3 years to support Alulike's Kohopono project, a culturally grounded initiative improving the health and well-being of Native Hawaiian youth. The program is offered at Nānākuli Elementary, embedded into the school's curriculum, and delivered during dedicated class time. Over the last 2 years, 386 Native Hawaiian haumana have been served, and the program will continue until June 2026. The haumana participate in 6 pono life skills sessions, which focus on developing their Native Hawaiian identity, healthy eating and exercise, emotional management, and substance abuse prevention. The ultimate goal is to build a strong foundation at an early age to support our keiki to think and live pono. The second update focuses on our strategic plan education outcome of supporting the development and use of educational resources for all Hawaiian lifelong learners in schools, communities, and ohana. The Office of Hawaiian Affairs has invested $410,000 over 3 years until 2027 in the Kaulu Ai Oka Na'uao project led by the Boys and Girls Club of Hawaii. This youth aged 7 to 17 from Nānākuli and Waiʻanae, strengthening their academic success, cultural knowledge, and workforce readiness. Provided as an after-school program at the Waiʻanae Clubhouse, 206 Native Hawaiian haumana and 105 youth at the Nānākuli Clubhouse have joined powerhouse academic sessions 4 times a week. At these sessions, the OPO engage in tutoring, study skills, and literacy support. We are excited to see the program impact in making positive changes and in increased school attendance, successful grade promotion, and graduation of higher confidence in test taking and homework completion. Additional programs are offered such as Aloha Aina, where the OPO build their kuana ike with practice in cordage making, study local i'a, and ahopua'a, create 3D models and plant gardens. And lastly, the Office of Hawaiian Affairs is proud to invest $400,000 over the next 2 years in the Native Hawaiian Entrepreneurship Initiative led by the Waiʻanae Economic Development Council. This project is designed to strengthen community stability and empower Native Hawaiian entrepreneurs on the Waiʻanae Coast. The Native Hawaiian Entrepreneurship Initiative aims to provide business education and services to 200 current and aspiring Native Hawaiian entrepreneurs in 4 cohorts. The program will offer workshops, one-on-one business development counseling, business filing assistance, and networking opportunities. Additional programs that are available to cohort members include empowering financial stability, where they can learn to manage money and save for the future and build generational wealth in a culturally grounded way. the Waiʻanae Business Incubator, from idea to market, which prepares participants to showcase products, engage customers, and essentially grow. And the Pakini Loan Fund, which assists entrepreneurs in gaining access to business capital. This economic stability grant to the Waiʻanae Community Development Council Native Hawaiian Entrepreneurship Initiative reflects OHA's strategic commitment to advancing policies, programs, and practices that strengthen Ohana abilities to pursue multiple pathways toward economic stability, cultural, economic development in and for Hawaiian communities, and by blending traditional Hawaiian values with contemporary business practices, OHA is excited to be providing critical funding and support to build resilient businesses and a thriving Kanaka-Oiwi-driven economy on the Waiʻanae coast and across the Pai'aina as well. Mahalo nui.
Thank you for that update, Keishan. And that's just a sprinkling of the things that OHA does. And through the course of tonight's presentations and what will follow our community discussion, we'll talk a lot more about what OHA does. But at this time, I'd like to yield to the Oʻahu trustee and our host this evening, Kalanihoʻokahā, to preside over the remaining part of our meeting tonight.
Mahalo, mahalo. Again, aloha no, aloha ho. Mahalo nui for joining us this evening. Velina mai kako, and welcome to our first Oʻahu Island community meeting here this year on the west side. We are very happy to be here to share this time with all of you. Mahalo again for joining us. I also want to say mahalo to all that are also going to be joining us virtually as we get that situated, and all those that will be tuning in the future. I also think it's very important that we mahalo all of the hands and minds that made this evening possible. They're much more than you see in this room joining us, and I'm so thankful to see the large group that we have this evening, and that's made possible through the word of mouth of those that are here with us this evening. And I'm so thankful to also our comms team for getting the word out and making this happen. So also I would like to acknowledge those that are government officials that are joining us this evening. If you can please stand up as we call you, starting with the Department of Hawaiian Homeland's Chair Kali Watson. We have also the District Senator Samantha DeCourt. Also, we have the Representative Chris Muraoka nearby as well as I would say nearby as well, Representative Diamond Garcia. And we do have more that will be joining us this evening, but I also want to acknowledge Representative Shirley Templo. As well, joining us this evening, I see many faces from past and present of the neighborhood boards. So mahalo anui for joining. I know that many of you in this room have served in this capacity, and you still remain active and activated for your community, and we mahalo you for this. Mahalo. So I also want to say mahalo nui to Olelo for making the effort to be here. And we put out the reach out for Olelo to be present, and just so happened we were at the town hall for Representative Darius Kila, and we ran into the Olelo team with John over there and his team, and they said, hey sister, you know what, if we can, we're gonna do it. So we made it happen, and we're still figuring it out. So mahalo nui to Olelo for making this the very first live-streamed Olelo live-stream in combination with the Office of Hawaiian Affairs. So as we have it all set up, we're going to be streaming on oha.org/livestream on our YouTube, as well as on the Olelo channel 49, and also on OHA's Facebook page. All right. And I also want to make sure that we have Aina acknowledgement here. So mahalo nui to Kamehameha Schools for the ability to hold this meeting here at Kalanihoʻokahā Community Learning Center. I'm also gonna ask that Kimmy come up to join us to share some of the information for this evening.
Aloha mai kākou. My name is Kimmy Brown. I am one of the project managers here at Kamehameha. Welcome. You are at Kalanihoʻokahā Community Learning Center. Those of you from Nānākuli are familiar with Auntie Aggie. We did name the center after Auntie Aggie because she was such a champion, like all of you, for Native Hawaiians, health, education, aina. And so welcome. We designed this center to be a place for learning and community gathering. Our focus here is on our youth, 16 to 24. We hope to credential them, give them their strong rooted identity in their Hawaiian identity, and to have meetings like this. And so we are thankful for the partnership with Oʻahu. We are so glad that you folks are here and bring these meetings out to the community, and especially in spaces like this. You see our Nānākuli and Waiʻanae Ohana have attended today. Save them from being in traffic and long days. I know they are happy to be here. So mahalo for being here. A couple of housekeeping things. If you have never been here, the bathroom is out here to the right. There's like a little alcove in there. The bathrooms are in there. There is no vaping or smoking on our campus. You can step out, and if you need to do that. These doors do slide open if more people come, or if you need another space to sit. There's some chairs outside. But again, we are so thankful. Mahalo you all for being here. Have a beautiful evening. Mahalo.
Mahalo, Kimmy. And we purposely had this meeting here in Nānākuli, and we start off on the west side with one of three of our Oʻahu Island community meetings, because this is intentional. We want to be within the community, or at least close by, to find a venue that is suitable to host our meetings, because we believe that in being able to be within the homestead areas, we are able to reach more of our Native Hawaiian people. So again, mahalo nui to those that made today possible. So that includes Kamehameha Schools, and not to forget Princess Bernice Pauahi Bishop for her legacy in making tonight possible with these lands. And also not to forget Princess Ruth for her providing the aina to her to be able to create this legacy, the wealth of these lands. Mahalo to Auntie Aggie for the many years of continued advocacy for our West Side community. And it was shared with us when we did the site visit of this location and how she made this location possible. So mahalo you, Kimmy, for mentioning Auntie Aggie as well. And also in our past Oʻahu Island community meeting, we've had it at the Waiʻanae Coast Comprehensive Health Center. And it was also shared with us that Auntie Aggie has been so integral in making sure that we have good health options for our people on this side of the island as well. So in terms of the Kamehameha Schools team that has made this evening possible, it's through the hands and minds of Pikake, Jairus, Kini, Valentine, and Tukimi. So mahalo anui. I also want to say mahalo to DHHL and INPEACE. I realize we have a lot of mahalos, but that's what it took to make tonight possible. Mahalo to DHHL and INPEACE for providing the amazing site visits that we had today. It was very educational. It's always great to hear what different services are available to our Native Hawaiian community. And most of all, I have to say mahalo anui to Team Akaka. Team Akaka for making this all possible. So please come forward, Team Akaka, into the room. That consists of Mark Watanabe. Mark, please raise your hand. Nathan Takeuchi. And my husband and our baby, baby Anna, for being my support system in all that we have to do to make this possible. So mahalo anui. So as we go into this evening, as it was mentioned, we have luas here on the right. We also have a water filling machine if you have refillable containers that you'd like to fill over there. And we have refreshments on the table over here, as well as, if you saw our flyer that we advertised for this meeting, our Native Hawaiian Registry Program. So this is the first meeting that we're able to really put a focus on. If you would be interested in signing up, please do so. We have our tables over there. in which you can do that. Oh, kalamai, on this side. On this side, we have our Native Hawaiian Registry, a group that are ready and able to kokua you with that. On this side, we have our tables with our various meals. So to share with you what that looks like, we have our kawai ola fans here. And I know that comes in useful on this side of the island. We have a brochure sharing with you what OHA does, when we were created, why we were created, what our mission is, and how that's in alignment with our strategic plan. We also have our Ola Ka'i o Waiʻoʻoha coloring book for the keiki, and also our Native Hawaiian Registry program, Pala Pala, over here to sign up, as well as the 2 recent issues of Kawai Ola for you to take home. All right. Okay, this is it. So one other thing too, we have surveys that you can partake in if you're interested in, and that way we can further stay on the pulse of what the needs and concerns are and to make sure we're doing it as best as we can. Oh, I see an Olelo person showing up. I think we can go live stream pretty soon then. Okay, and one other thing too, we do have to leave this property by 8:30 p.m. So I'm gonna try to keep on the time and be able to watch to make sure that we can close up sometime around 8 p.m. We'll see how that goes. All right, so moving on to the next part of our agenda is item 3, status of OHA activities. Okay, did we have anyone to testify on that one? Mahalo. Awesome. All right, now moving on to our first agenda item with community presentations. We have our Kalani Fronda, who serves as the acting administrator, Land Development Division of the Department of Hawaiian Homelands, also known as DHHL. We welcome Kalani, who has also served working at the Office of Hawaiian Affairs in our administration. Mahalo nui loa for organizing today's site visit and for the amazing tour of your facility. Mahalo nui. And before we proceed, can we please bring on that testifier? Mahalo. And just also as well, as we have testimony, we're able to give 5 minutes each to each testifier. Mahalo. You can testify over there.
Aloha. My name is Jermaine Myers. I'm an OHA beneficiary for Beneficiary Advocacy and Empowerment, and I'm also a Nānākuli Hawaiian Homestead lessee. I was honored. I had the opportunity to go to the DHHL site visit today, and I was able to hear some of the things that Chair Kali Watson had shared, as well as his teammates has shared. I'm sorry, his teammates. His staff, the DHHL staff had shared in each department. And what I want to highlight that I'm concerned about, what I heard was about geothermal on DHHL lands. So that is concerning to me because my first concern is that he spoke about using a partner that claims to have consulted experience with New Zealand geothermal. So I hope DHHL can clarify if they were referencing IDG. IDG is owned by Robbie Cabral, and she uses her partners such as Mililani Trask. I've been monitoring the geothermal consultant meetings and workshops on the Big Island, and I'm just concerned that we haven't been consulted yet. And the reason I say that is because Chair had shared that they have identified 5 properties to do geothermal on DHHL lands. 3 on the Big Island, 1 on Maui, and 1 on Oʻahu, specifically in Lualuale. Now we all know where Lualuale has DHHL lands. For those of us that are longtime Waiʻanae Moku homesteaders. So my concern is that we've never been consulted as beneficiaries about, do we really want geothermal in our community? And there is numerous reports about how it negatively impacts our our health, being close to a geothermal plant. And what my concern is that we have a lot of other DHHL lands. DHHL had purchased land in Hawaii. We have land on the other side of the island in Kaneohe, etc. But what we have been sensitive to in our community is that when it comes to the needs of the island of Oʻahu, when it comes to infrastructure like electric power plant, wastewater treatment, landfills, they put it in Waiʻanae in our community. We have the largest solar farm in the island. We have the largest landfill. We got Waimanalo Gouch, and we got PVT, the only construction landfill. And they constantly extend the life of Waimanalo Gouch. It keeps going beyond the expiration date that was originally promised to our community. So when I heard that geothermal, they've identified lands in Lualole for a geothermal plant, and knowing that reading reports about it can also have seismic earthquakes, create those things, but just the contamination of the water, etc., etc. But also, we all know that Lualole is next to Lualole Naval Station. And it was a magazine. They have over 400 bunkers underground. And when last time I asked about is ammunition stored there, the response was, I believe it's stored there, but if it should blow up, the storage has the ability to protect the ark. Well, the Navy has also told us that their underground storage tanks would never leak into our water system. So I find it really hard to believe that if a geothermal drilling under the ground would not shift plates, would not create, detonation. So those are my concerns. I was listening to all of the feedback. There was a lot that I was concerned about. There's a lot that I was hopeful about, but this was in my backyard. And so I thought I expressed my concerns about IDG, Robbie Cabral, Mililani Trask, as well as Lualole Valley geothermal being next to Lualole Naval Magazine with all of its ammunition underground. Kia kuapu, God bless all of you.
Do we have any other testifiers for this item? Mahalo. So I'll call up Kalani to present. And as Kalani is making his way over there, I also want to highlight that OHA provides upwards of $3 million per year, totaling over $90 million to DHHL's debt service over the years. Mahalo.
Mahalo. Aloha, my name is Kalani Fronda, born and raised on Mohihi Street, Nānākuli, and raised my kids in Princess Kahanu for about 15 years. And also a beneficiary. So glad to be back in my roots and be able to share with you updates that are happening at the Department of Hawaiian Homelands. We're going to really focus on homesteading and some of the improvements and movement that we've been doing to be able to address the wait list. Next slide, please. So over the past 100 years, we've had about 10,000 leases, equivalent to about 100 per year. We're moving forward in this next 3 to 5 years and issuing 7,000 leases, moving forward about 28 projects. Next slide, please. And mahalo to Prince Kuhio for his vision that he's seen for his lahui. I wanted to just highlight really quick on this was 50% of the applicants are over the age of 65, and more than 90% are over the age of 40. Next slide, please. This just shows that as pre-COVID, there's been a lot of things that we've been dealing with in this industry, everything from material costs to tariffs to labor, etc., even the different types of regulations that we had gone through. And so because of that, these additional costs build up. Next slide, please. This is just really high level of information that we was able to pull from the governor's housing team on addressing what housing looks like in Hawaii today. Next slide. Also, what's happening to our lahui, both on the continent, etc. As you take a look at the 29,000, and we get about 600, I believe is what application said, 600 per year of new applications that are coming in. So it continues to increase. And our 29,000 right now is spread throughout the world. It's not only in Hawaii, it's also throughout the continent, and then also on other continents as well. Next slide. The new approach is, and we're at the tail end of how we used to do things before. And that was we build, and then you got to pre-qualify to get in. I have a couple of testimonies of Nānākuli and Kupuna that have gone through, and excited to be where they're at right now. But we have a new approach. Mahalo to Chair Watson on implementing this. Project leases gives us a couple of things. It gives us the opportunity for us to work with our beneficiaries, going through financial assessments, and really understanding what it takes to prepare on getting ready to actually purchase and occupy a house. This also provides the developers how to shape the development. So not everybody can get into a house that's worth $700,000. Some can only qualify for 4, some for only 2. Just depends how much they're making, what's in their household, etc. And now we are working with them to build according to what they can afford. Next slide, please. Project leases. What are project leases? Very quick and addressing this. So one of the things that we did was understanding that what project leases gives you. It gives the 50% family member access to Department of Hawaiian Homelands. So understand that when Prince Kuhio first went to Congress, it wasn't about 50%. It really was about his lahui. But there is opposition that came, and the opposition caused U.S. Congress to say, Prince Kuhio, we love you, but 50% or nothing at all. He said, you know what, I got to take something and I got to give something back. So what the project leases does, it now, because the 50%er has the pala, they can actually pass it on to the 25% successor. That is very important because sometimes our family members only have 25%. So this gives them the access to that, secures, and they can also transfer it right away to the 25%. So that 25%er can prepare to purchase a place. You don't need any pre-qualification on that. We just say, yes, I want it, and then we work with them to get into a house that they can afford. Next slide, please. What we do is we identify the land based upon our island plans, based upon the acquisition that has services that have infrastructure around there, health services, educational services, and wanting to make sure that where we build our homestead for residential purposes are close to those types of services. We also got to build the site infrastructure. I had given an example before. When I lived on Mohihi Street, I looked outside, and across the street by Hakima Road, I was like, what is that big tank over there? Well, that big tank was actually a water tank, not realizing that when we go in as DHHL, we got to build those tanks. We got to build the transmission. We build all of these things so we can actually provide infrastructure for our beneficiaries. The private developer comes in. When it started to total how much they come in, so we come in with the infrastructure monies, build out the infrastructure. They're coming in with like $1 billion right now for vertical financing. They're bringing that to the table to help us build houses so we can get our beneficiaries into the house. Next slide, please. I went through this. Next slide. So the housing products, the different options that are there is rent with option to purchase. The difference on this is it gives you 15 years rental. At the end of 15 years, you purchase the house. Now, as you know, when you purchase a house, the price of it appreciates. Well, at the end of 15 years, what you qualified for is what you're gonna, that category is what you're going to purchase it at. So some of our rent with option to purchase lessees or beneficiaries at the end of 15 years, they're paying like about $300,000 to $350,000 after 15 years for a brand new house that they lived in for 15 years. Some of it, they only pay like roughly between $1,000 to $1,500. But because they can't qualify, they don't make enough money, they don't have the credit, etc., we work with them. The big difference is we're actually giving up lease on top of there, a project lease that now they can pass on to their successor. Turnkey homes, we're working with them on that. I have a video at the end of the slides that will share testimonies of beneficiaries that had received recently. Self-help housing, you're going to hear from Joe sharing our work with Habitat for Humanity Leeward, and then also owner build. One of the great things on owner build lot is we had an auntie over here in Nānākuli. She took an owner build lot. You got to come up with a construction loan, about 20% down now. She had to fork out like $60,000. Not everybody has $60,000 to do that. So we've partnered up with Hawaii Community Lending, and they are walking through with our beneficiaries that are receiving these vacant lot awards. They're finding down payment assistance monies. They're finding the type of financing that they can qualify for. They're finding the general contractor to help them go through the permit process, so that our beneficiaries do not have to do it on their own. We have someone that can do case management with them. Last is, I just want to give you a quick, very high level testimony of Auntie Mapuana. Lived in, she's from Maui. She moved to Arizona because she couldn't afford it anymore in 2022. She got a letter inviting her to come to an orientation, and she was like, okay, you know what? I want to go home. Let's take a look at it. They already had bought their place in Arizona. Came home, went through the orientation, and realized that, you know what? I think it can qualify for some of these funding, like NAHASDA, that we administer and facilitate. She was able to get a loan that qualified her for a $700,000 house, 5-bedroom, 3-bath, 0 down, 1%. She's paying $1,600 mortgage. And that was even cheaper than her $3,500 rent that she had to pay when she came home as she was waiting for her house to be built. So exciting for her. Next slide, please. Next slide. Okay, I'm going to bring up Elijah Davidson. He's our project manager at DHHL. He's going to share with you a couple of slides here.
Hello, everyone. My name is Elijah Davidson. I am a project manager with the Land Development Division at Department of Hawaiian Homelands. And so, as Kalani had mentioned earlier, we're offering thousands and thousands of leases at this point. I mean, we have a wait list of over 29,000 and growing. And really what we're facing now is we have a growing obligation to our beneficiaries to provide these homes. I mean, we're giving them these paper leases, and one of our concerns as a department is, how are our people going to be able to afford these homes? I mean, we're coming in at $500 to $600 a square foot for these homes, and they're having to come up with $600,000, $700,000, even $800,000 to afford a home, while Hawaiian Homelands is also providing the land and the infrastructure. And so really what we're taking a look at and investigating is, how can we reduce the cost of housing to our beneficiaries? And so we started taking a look at alternative construction methods. I mean, we've been doing research for the past, over a year now, trying to figure out how can we reduce that cost. We took a look at 3D printed homes, prefabricated panels. We took a look at modular construction. And so we're really trying to bring down that cost for our beneficiaries. I mean, even 10 to 15% could help them. And so, next slide, please. So one of the last things that we started taking a look at was modular construction. And the reason for this is because we're able to build these volumetric homes that can be placed on the site in a timely fashion. And so on top of not only making these homes affordable to our beneficiaries, we're looking at how can we meet the need in a timely manner, right? We have over 6,000 leases we're offering out, and we're having to build these homes at such a fast rate. So this is really one of the solutions that we're taking a look at and testing the feasibility of. One of the concerns that we had going into this was, how do we offer a quality product that's not shoving our people into, you know, what we think of modular construction is these container homes or these tofu blocks, as we like to say. And we don't want to shove our people into homes that are not quality and that does not fit into our local environment. And so we took a look at multiple things, seeing that the benefit of modular is that we can build in a faster time frame, we can lower the construction costs, create a safer work environment for our local workers, as well as support local jobs and industry, and improve the quality and consistency of our homes. Next slide, please. So we really took a look at comparing the costs, and currently, as many of you have seen in Ko'oloka'i, East Kapolei 2C development, the homes are now coming at around $500 to $550 a square foot. And what we're taking a look at with this new modular company we've been kind of researching and testing the feasibility of is we're able to reduce it down to $363 a square foot. Next slide, please. So Fading West is one of these companies that we've been taking a look at. We've taken a look at over 50 different modular companies, structurally insulated panel companies. But the reason why we have been taking a closer look and kind of going on this endeavor with Fading West currently is because they are bringing a quality that is not like the other companies. Not just that, but they are willing to look at bringing a factory here and creating local jobs. Next slide, please. So this is taking a look at the exterior design. And so of course this is they're located in Colorado. Their designs are not what we would think of for Hawaii, but what they're willing to do is actually turn their design and actually fit it into the Hawaii environment, and going based off of what the beneficiaries want in a design. Next slide, please. This is just taking a look at the interior of these homes. Next slide. Next slide, please. Thank you. So, as I spoke about earlier, we're looking at the benefits of this. We're seeing that it's more efficient. It comes at more affordable to our Native Hawaiian beneficiaries, as well as bringing quality and more jobs to our island. Next slide, please. So, as we prefaced earlier, is that we want to focus on building local and empowering local. We want to look at supporting our local unions, as well as supporting other organizations, possibly looking at Youth Challenge, and people who are in furlough workforce. Next slide, please. And so this kind of dove deeper into the union benefits that we're able to build at a faster build time. So this doesn't just benefit our Native Hawaiian beneficiaries, but it also benefits the unions, where a large portion of the unions have Native Hawaiians working within the unions. Next slide, please. And then this just takes a look at on-site construction. Even though we are building, looking at building a manufacturing factory here, we're taking a look at the on-site construction that's still available to not only our people, but the unions within the factory and even on-site. Next slide, please. Okay.
Aloha mai kākou. My name is Lokahi Paole. I am also a project manager working in the Land Development Division with Department of Hawaiian Homelands, and today I would love to share with you all about the Scattered Lots Initiative and the projects I'm working on across the state. So if we go to the next slide. What are scattered lots? So scattered lots are vacant parcels that are across the state that return to the DHHL inventory, and when these leases are surrendered due to unfortunate circumstances, whether public notice or whatnot, they end up back into DHHL inventory, and we have to, at Land Development Division, start prepping them for re-award, because there are lots that are out there that sit vacant, and it's a hinder to our communities out there. So I was brought on board alongside with Elijah to hurry this process up and speed it up as much as possible. So we've identified how we can do, when the lots return, come from intake of the lots, prepping the lots as aggressively as possible in LDD, and then offering to our beneficiaries on the our Native Hawaiian beneficiaries on the wait list. And then if we go to the next slide, these are just examples of how these lot conditions end up in our inventory. When they're returned, they're in pretty bad shape, but we try to bring back life to these properties and in our communities. And the great part about these scattered lots is that we are able to employ our local contractors and our smaller contractors across the islands, and not working with these bigger developers to just kind of quickly work on these projects and get them out as fast as we can. So if we go to the next slide, why these scattered lots matter. Again, I talked about the pipeline and how we try to streamline this process, and this is what we've been working on how we can make it as clear process for the department, wherein we get a lot in the inventory, we go straight from inspection to award as quick as possible. No, not much lag time. And again, as we mentioned, at the department, we are looking to partner with as much of our Ali Trust and our nonprofits and a bunch of our locals out there, and all the other small contractors that we can employ to help get jobs out there. And then again, to go and clear the wait lists one at a time. These aren't bigger developments. These aren't the 200 lot offers that we do. These are smaller one-offs here in our existing communities that we can really affect. So then if we go to the next slide. If we just go by the numbers across the state, at the start of 2025, we did our due diligence and we inventoried about 116 scattered lots. So now after the projects are completed, we're about 81 remaining active projects. So we're moving them as fast as possible. That's about 30% down from what we were at the start of the year. So on Oʻahu, we have 35. On Hawaiʻi Island, we have 33. On Molokai, there's 20. On Maui, there's 13, and on Kauai, there's 5 lots. And if we go to the next slide, right now we are rushing our west side lots. So our focus, especially us being here in Nānākuli now, we're starting off in Waiʻanae with our partnership that Joe from Leeward Habitat is going to help us with. And then we will be moving to Nānākuli on our properties in Nānākuli, where we're helping prepare owner-builder lots. In Kapolei, where we have renovation projects finishing up, and then again, any new existing lot, we want to keep that timeline down to a 6-month goal. When the lot comes into our inventory, we get it out within 6 months. That's the goal. So if we go to the next slide. What's next? Again, I don't want to steal the light from Joe from Leeward as much as possible, but we have 7 new homes that we are excited in Waiʻanae that we're going to build. These lots were sitting vacant in Freitas Dairy. I'm sure some of our community members have seen them, but we are partnered with Leeward now at Habitat to help and build self-help housing out there. And then, again, new innovative solutions using Elijah's examples of modular construction on these lots, and again, the community impact. But aloha, yeah. And if we go to the next slide, I believe that is Joe from Habitat.
Aloha, everyone. Thank you for allowing me the time to come and talk to you as well. All I can say is yikes. Since Kali Watson came on board and put his team together, they're stressing me out. I kid you not. They are on a mission, I mean a mission, to put families in homes, to do repairs. I've been getting referrals like crazy, and I sometimes lose sleep and worry about how we're going to do all of this. But we too have a mission, and that is to build homes and lives. So whatever we can do to support our families on the Leeward Coast and to support the mission of Habitat for Humanity, we're there. I just put together a few pictures of some of the houses we built. This is a house, those are the houses. So I wanted to prove a point that we can build 2-story homes too. And thank you. And the house, that bright green house, that house is a custom home that was designed by the owner of that company that sells lumber in Kaneohe, and he allowed me to use that home. It's a beautiful home. The home up above is also a custom home, and what I loved about that is the family has a son who's in a care home. They wanted to bring him home every so often. So this house from the carport goes right into his bedroom so they can wheel him in. I wanted to also show the moss rock wall is there because we can do far more than building homes and repairing homes. We even bring in a crew to fix a moss rock wall that was falling over into the neighbors' homes. So next picture, I don't know if there's anything else after this. No? That's it? Okay, so thank you, thank you, thank you.
Mahalo, trustees. Appreciate the opportunity to share with you updates from Department of Hawaiian Homelands.
Mahalo Anui. So also to share with you all that IT and Olelo has updated me that we are now live on Oʻahu, Facebook, and YouTube for quite some time now. So mahalo nui for to those that are now tuning in. So, do we have any members with any ninau or mana'o for DHHL? Aohe? Trustee Akina.
Kali, congratulations on the great work that's being done. This is an old question, but it's relevant now because of the pace at which you're building. There's always been a struggle in terms of the sufficiency of infrastructure, everything from water, electricity, roads, and so forth. What is the sufficiency now? What challenges are you facing, and how are you approaching them?
Yeah, with respect to the sufficiency of the funding, as we all know, we've received about $600 million under Act 279. We're using just about all of that for the infrastructure. We're doing 28 projects, as Kalani had mentioned. That's not enough. We need a lot more. As Kalani also mentioned, we have about 29,000 on the wait list and growing. And so we're not only faced with the real challenge of, I guess, getting more funding, which we're trying, but we're also trying to get innovative. We're looking at bonds, we're looking at tax credits, which also include or can include the infrastructure costs, not just the vertical construction. And then we're also going up. And so as a good example of where funding was somewhat creatively accessed is our Bolodrome. That's a $155 million project. We were able to get about $80 million in private activities bonds, independent from any kind of allotment from the 279 or allocations by the legislature. So that was a source that we were able to access. There's also the Rental Housing Revolving Fund. We got about $45.7 million on that. And then using tax credits with the state, HHFDC that manages that. That also is used as 4.7 federal and 4.7, state. And so, you know, it's a matter of getting creative and trying to get the infrastructure costs. You guys actually provided about $90 million, and you're paying about $3 million a year for that debt or that infrastructure, which we use to put in primarily on the Big Island, which we're now and has since started to put houses and have put houses. So again, this is partnership. And I just also like to mention this Nānākuli Village Center. You know, this was built with partnerships. And I'd have to really commend and thank Kamaki Kanahele from the Nānākuli Homestead Community Association, who had the vision, which was created in part by the community as a whole. But they saw this Nānākuli Village Center as something that they needed. And so a little over 20 years ago, he approached me, and we got together and we tried to figure out, well, how can we do these different parts? This Kameme Schools development, Kalanihoʻokahā development, that's where we approached. Again, approaching the Elite Trust. They came up with $10 million. They got a direct general lease for this site, and they put it up. And so we are enjoying the fruits of this partnership between DHHL, Nānākuli, who instigated and created this vision, as well as DHHL. As with respect to the Hale Makana o Nānākuli, that's a $14.5 million project using tax credits, bonds, or what have you. Again, getting creative to provide housing and relieve the overcrowdedness in Nānākuli Village, which, in Nānākuli Homestead. Then in the front, you got, we raised funds not only using new market tax credits, but also CDBG, working with the feds, and then also working with Waiʻanae. They went after and created this satellite medical clinic that you can see right over here, beautiful. You got the Fresenius Clinic, again, using funding from these different sources. So again, I reach out to the OHA as well as the communities. Let's work together. The HHL is a very active and willing partner. So we look forward to the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Kali.
Members, any other ninao or manao? Okay, mahalo. All right, moving on now to the video that DHHO would like to share. Mahalo.
Is Julia around to help us with the sound for this video?
Maybe Kali, just tell us what we're seeing, just in case the audio no can.
This is our Pouhana project. It involves about 161 units that Everett Dowling is building. This is the first phase. We're actually into the second phase. This is a project that, again, in getting somewhat creative, we went after land that was not in our inventory. And so by acquiring and using some of the Act 279 as well as our affordable housing credits, we're able to acquire this parcel. And so now we're building 161 new residential homesteads. Right above it is our Wailuku Estates. That's about 207 units that we'll be doing shortly. Down the street we have Leali'i Phase 2. That's going to be about 180 units. Then we also have Oʻahu Mauka, which involves about 300 new, for a total of about 1,100 new homesteads, real projects that are funded. And we're doing basically first phases. We're actually putting in the infrastructure, and then using the 4 categories that Kalani mentioned to provide opportunities for people towards home ownership. Historically, we've passed a lot of people on the wait list, and people have died waiting to get their homes. So in order to avoid that, what we did is not only created these larger projects, but we're using the different financing approaches. We're using the turnkey, and we have all these different funding approaches, working with Hawaii Community Lending and others to provide the turnkey funding. But we're finding that, as was mentioned, with the majority of the people on our wait list over 65 years old, it makes it hard and not necessarily desirable for them to buy a $700,000 house. So what we've done with the lower income, we're using tax credits. And through the use of tax credit, basically you get this free money from guys that are investing and buying the tax credits that used to subsidize anywhere from 40 to 70% of the construction costs. And by doing it, having a 15-year compliance period, as well as separating the land from the vertical construction, we can issue a homestead lease right up front. That's what the paper lease is about. And also working with Joel's group, the Habitat. Then for those that want to build their own, we're also doing the owner-builder. But there's a, you know, like I said, we're doing a lot of not only on Maui, also on this island. You know, we just recently awarded about 700 leases. We're going to do about 450 in the first phase, and there's a 250 in the second phase, which requires funding. We may do a tax credit and get the infrastructure costs by the sale of tax credits. We also have bonds. We want to work with you guys. You guys have some bonding authority. Maybe we'll start adjusting and accessing that for infrastructure costs. We have about 80 million of our own infrastructure bonding authority that we have. Again, it's working together, looking for financing approaches that make sense. Thank you.
Mahalo. I had mentioned earlier at our site visit that in attending a recent Waiʻanae Coast Neighborhood Board meeting, one of the testifiers had shared in what they remember from one of our previous Oʻahu Island community meetings on the west side at the UH West Oʻahu Community College there, is that there was a word that was mentioned, which is affordable. However, what is affordable to some is not affordable to others. So sometimes maybe we gotta reword it, whether it's the word attainable. So I appreciate that DHHL is looking at the various different options and how we can support our beneficiaries, our shared beneficiaries, in looking at how we can best house and bit by bit, hopefully big bits, remove people from the list as time goes on. Mahalo. Now we will be moving on to our next presenters. We have Sanoe Marfil, as well as Kalanihoʻokahā. And Sanoe is the Chief Executive Officer of the Institute for Native Pacific Education and Culture, also known as INPEACE, and Kalehua is the Program Director.
Aloha nui kako, ova no o Sanoe Marfil no Nānākuli mai au. I am a homesteader. I'm an alumni of Nānākuli. I'm so happy to be here, so mahalo nui.
Kia aloha ina ia kākou pakahia pau o wau no o Kalanihoʻokahā ka mohali ka tere se kupa keia no maʻili Waiʻanae. Ma ke au o ka mokupuni, I am the Chief Program Officer for INPEACE.
So we're gonna make this kind of quick since Kalani guys took all our time. Nah, just kidding, just kidding.
And you know what?
I'm just kidding.
Kalanihoʻokahā, I asked my team to ask, can we kind of extend our time just a little bit? And the response was, yes, can. We want to make sure that our beneficiaries are able to testify as they have signed up, and we want to provide the opportunity so you get that time. Mahalo.
Well, I will say with my other hat, I am an Oʻahu Commissioner for the Department of Hawaiian Homelands. So proud to do that work and to serve our Native people. So as the Chief Executive Officer coming into this role in 2024, I became the CEO. And at that time, we were looking to establish our place here in Waiʻanae. As an organization who has served this coast for 30 years, it was time for us to find a home. And so the good news that I want to share with everybody is that we purchased the old Kaiser building. That is our new community hub. Paʻipaʻili makako. Oh, yeah. And the vision for that building is really to provide a community hub where education, where innovation, where entrepreneurship, where culture is the forefront of what we do and how we do it, because we want to be in community for the next 30 years. And so tonight I'm going to allow Kalehua to talk about all of our programs and projects, but I want to encourage each and every one of you, for those who want to partner with us, are from community, are thinking about programs, have opportunities and funders that may be able to partner with INPEACE. I want you folks to come forward and to talk story with us, because we have big visions for our building. We have some amazing partners who have already come forth and who have already held hands with us to start what we are building and phasing out for the next 2 to 3 years. So aloha nui kako.
Aloha nui. So I just wanted to share some quick data points, and I think I'm one of those data nerds, and I think people can appreciate that sometimes. So last year, INPEACE served over 27,000 participants across the Pai'aina, and with some of our services even beyond to moku honua and international. We employ 118 employees. 75% of us are born and raised in the communities that we serve in. For example, the both of us. 47% of our employees are also former participants or parents of our program. INPEACE operates 11 programs. We have early childhood education. So many are familiar with Keiki Steps. Keiki Steps is a family child interaction learning preschool program, which is a long word that means that Keiki come with an adult, so Keiki and Makua. I think it's really important to say that INPEACE provides our services for free. So direct access to community everywhere all the time. We make that commitment. You know, we got to go with the times, but for the most part, for 30 years, INPEACE has been offering services accessible for free. Keiki Steps has innovated during COVID, like many of us did, to provide virtual ECE, which is really hard to do, if I'm being honest. But what I also like to share is that we've gotten pretty good at it. So I am a grandparent of a Keiki Steps student who, for the first 2 years, participated online from our homestead in Honolulu at Maluʻohai. So it can be done. The other thing that I'm especially happy to say is in doing we continue this commitment to provide virtual services, which means that the diaspora, so all of our OEV, you know, the more than 50% that's not in ko Hawaiʻi Paiʻaina, can access culture education. Additionally, we started full Hawaiian language immersion. And I think the beauty of that is when you bring Keiki and Makua into an environment when they're both learning Hawaiian at the same time, it really can become a language of the home. So in my ohana, we've been committed on this coast for more than 20 years. We raised 3 generations in Ō'ahu, Hawaii. That really started with parents like myself in Sanoe. We also offer 12 campuses or 12 classrooms on 3 islands. And both you can access immersion at our Halenani Keola site. You can also get immersion virtually. And then we also do dual language. So, and if, you know, people oftentimes ask me, like, what is the percentage? The percentage is as much as we can get our people to speak, right? So we set the bar high and we hope everybody meet us there. So that's Keiki Steps. Ho'ala is our outreach program. And so really we endeavor to have every Hawaiian family with their keiki in any ECE setting of their choice, whether that's FCC, center-based, family-child interaction like ourselves. And so they do a lot of the hard work. I want to say they served over 7,000 last year. They're really the guys that do a lot of the hard work, which means they help you fill out your application. They tell you what all the services are on the different islands. They will drive your application all the way to town. They will tell you what the scholarships are available. And so really that real personal touch that sometimes our people need in order to be successful is the cheerleader. And so that's what Ho'ala does. We also have Hi'ile. Hi'ile is a PAT national affiliate, so they do home visiting. They are a part of Circle McV, which means that we're really looking at what does it mean to be an indigenous home visitor. Super important when we're letting people come into our homes. And so Hi'ile is really experts at doing that. We also do educational equity and workforce development, particularly around grow your own teachers. And so that's what INPEACE has been doing, at least for 30 years on the coast. So last year, Kalama supported 554 participants. So when we look at teacher shortage, INPEACE has definitely been committed to doing so. Last year, we had at least 32 graduates, and that's from all different levels of the pipeline. We also have early literacy, so making sure that we are helping to support all of our early learners. So if you're a parent who is interested in learning about how to get your keiki to learn early literacy or early intervention strategies, we also support educators with teacher training around early literacy, because we know how important it is to make sure that we are developing oral language and preparing our keiki for academic success. So we spoke about Kalama. Kaulele. So Kaulele is our mobile science center, really centered around Ike Kupuna and Ike Ku'una Hawaii. So we have 4 exhibits that has been traveling around. The first one was, born right out of this Avava, and really focused on Mauia Kalana and Hina around the story of Kapa. So that was the first one. Second one was around Kaulana Mahina, so a lot of the practices associated with Kaulana Mahina, or the moon. We also have Lokoi'a. So Lokoi'a right now is debuting out at Imiloa. And Lawaiʻa, the practices of Lawaiʻa is currently housed right in our office at Halenane Keola. So please be sure to come check them out. The babies, they really love them. And then, you know, all the older people, they love them too. So perfect place for, you know, this kind of both the intergenerational teaching and especially the launa ohana kind things. We have Center for Entrepreneurship. So our next batch, we have 2, is around financial literacy and growing entrepreneurs. And so we have a Center for Entrepreneurship out in Kapoleima, Kalailoa, at our Kalailoa office. And so we recognize how important it is to set our people up for financial success, because in order for our babies and our families to be lifelong learners, we got to make sure that they clothed, housed, fed. And so the INPEACE endeavor to do that by using Ho'ulu Waiʻanae to teach both adult families. We get a lot of interest by other Native Hawaiian organizations around financial literacy, and also invitations into the school. And then I think I forgot AO. So AO is out in Waiʻanae at our Waiʻanae elementary site. So really building OEV leadership skills into grades 4, 5, 6. And then we also have Kupu'ola, which is our outdoor classroom, which is located at Waiʻanae Intermediate School. I don't know, serving what, like several hundred at least. Yeah, and then lastly, because we get plenty of programs, so last and 11th one will be community schools. And so we have community school liaisons that work in the DOE system. So we have one that works out at Nānākuli High School and another at Barbers Point Elementary. Oia no kākou.
Mahalo. Mahalo anui. And before we continue on, it was brought to my attention that we also have in our presence Department of Law Enforcement Jared Redula joining us this evening. So if you can please wave your hand as well. Mahalo nui for joining us. Mahalo, Jared. Members, do we have any ninau or mana'o for INPEACE? Aohe? Okay, mahalo. And I want to say mahalo nui to Representative Darius Kila, as he had recommended that we go visit INPEACE and also recommended this location for us to have this meeting. We will, before we continue on, do we have any testifiers for this item? For the government? Okay, mahalo. We are now moving on to, let's see, our government officials update. So Lehua, we have testifiers? Okay, a familiar face / maka'ani-ani. Okay. Yes. Oh, this would be regarding INPEACE. Yes. Oh, Kalamai, yes. Long day, government updates.
Aloha mai kako. This is beautiful Mike. Thank you very much for coming here. Thank you, Kali Watson. Thank you, Oha. Thank you, Kauai Ni Hao. I never see you guys. I've never been to your island before in my life. But I'd love to go. We should all take a tour. I'd happily live stream for all of you for free. But now that we're working with consulting, we can work on a budget with DHHL. So with the government updates, I did fill out the survey, both of them. So I want to address the issues. And I did email all of you on info@oha.org and all the other policies, and including the survey. However, when I talked to Chair Kai Kahele and some of the board members, they didn't get my email. So it's weird with the communication. So I'm going to resend it with the newspaper to all of your individual emails tonight, because it's very boring. So I'm going to go over what I wrote, what I emailed you, just to be specific for government updates and your survey. Okay, so the goal of first is the strategic plan. The good things is, number one, your very holistic, multifaceted framework. Number two, your cultural resonance understanding is very good in the strategic plan. Number three, the accountable strategic outcomes is very reasonable. And number four, your long-term vision, and it's very relevant to our people in need. The bad parts. You lack concrete metrics and a timeline, which means SMART. SMART goals: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-based with goals. Number 2, innovative coverage of key areas. So you're missing some places like the economics, housing, and import and exports, because we can move a lot of stuff: macadamia nuts, coffee, deer from Maui, Molokai. We need inter-island trade. Number 3, you have limited implementation and accountability. We know Oʻahu's made in 1970. It's a state entity. The HHL 1920. I'm not going to go into the whole history. Chair Kaikahele knows it. Number 4, what did I write in my notes? So the over-reliance and cultural framing without modern adaptations. That means relying on the old models without utilizing social media, the younger generations, to maximize our results. So here's what you can do to implement what I'm saying. Now remember, keep in mind, I emailed you all of this. Number 1, I gotta take off the glasses, I can't see, too dark. Metrics and marketing, like I said, with SMART. Number 2, this happens to write in a black pen, not a blue or a red pen. Number 2, we need the implementation roadmap. So we're going to put the SMART objectives in there and put the accountant, Mr. Akina, on there. Put the Asian with the glasses to make sure we got the time accounting, no more red flags. Number 3, risk management and adaptability, because with investing in money, it's risk management. I'm pro-crypto. I agree we should invest. Number 4, the stockholder engagement and inclusivity. What you're doing here is you're engaging the stakeholders, the partnerships, like Kali Watson. I'm not sure where you went, but we definitely need him and other people to utilize the federal, state, city, and county funds to get the dreams of our people realized. Number 5, the resource and partnership strategy is what I'm saying. You guys are doing a great job, and I want to remind all the people, Chair Kaikahele, when I met him in Washington, D.C., besides the Capitol, he was the only senator that I got to meet. But he has a limited time here as the chair, like 14 or something less than 12 months. And we got to swap it out again. So we have a limited time frame, and this is why we're going to the 2026 legislation with my last 2 minutes. Thank you, you guys trained me well at the Capitol. So, moving on to your second survey, which is much shorter. The 2026 legislation issues. I only got 6. Number 1, affordable housing and land access. Number 2, the health disparities. The health, mental, you guys know what I'm talking about. Number 3, the cultural preservation and environmental protection. Number 4, a Native Hawaiian Cultural Center. We definitely need one. And I have a spot by Auntie Jody's place across DHHL, because we just got approved for DHHL for $800,000 to build a wall with the HASDA funds. Kali Watson approved it September 15th, so the funds are going to come through. But I want to see this all our homestead associations, because we want to build a bigger community center, and we can do it with Oʻahu working together. So that's a real solution. Number 5, I want you guys to address human trafficking and smuggling advocacy, because we're the #1 target for our women and children, and why we're going to worry about housing if they're being raped, extorted, like Jeffrey Epstein plus. Number 6, why I want you guys to address is self-sufficiency and our microeconomic development. With my remaining time, like from Molokai, like from Maui, like from Big Island, we can trade. You got the puā, you got the macadamia nuts. Oʻahu can hustle. We have the Merchant Marine Jones Act, and all this stuff got to come through us. You want housing for Lahaina? It's got to be imported here, which is why we need to collect a percentage. Work with Ed Case, work with all the crazy Mazy Hirono, so we can work this out together. Because Pikachu will take the Nahasda funds. It's not my money. Who cares? Let's work together. Chihu, yeah, you. Government update.
Mahalo. Any other testifiers for government officials updates? Mahalo. The first we'll call up is Representative Chris Roca.
Wow, how do we follow Pikachu, right? Sheesh. I apologize, everybody. I wasn't prepared to speak. But I'll just write down some of the notes I was writing. Everybody thinks I'm rude, but I wasn't texting. I was actually taking some notes because my brain only this big and we planning stuff. So a couple of the things I heard. The first one I wanted to say is about the scattered lands. DHHL talked about scattered lands. One of the things they did talk about in the scattered lands was how
the unions employ so many native Hawaiians. So my question is, why can't we just give the native Hawaiians who are on the wait list a scattered land? In the present condition, they're already in the trades. They can save a ton of money by rebuilding themselves. So that's a way we can save money, helping Hawaiians. The other thing I wanted to say, and I'll end with this one because there's probably a lot of controversy, but with DHHL, we saw kupuna, right? 90% of the wait list is kupuna, 65 plus. And one thing that I heard that disgusts me is they don't qualify. Well, why doesn't DHHL and OHA get together and figure out a program that can calculate how long the kupuna was on the wait list? Because 15, 20 years ago, they may have been able to qualify. So why don't we create a program that benefits the kupuna? And when we're awarding these leases, why don't we do FIFO, right? We do it everywhere else. So grocery stores, everything, first in, first out. So maybe stop using the excuse that they don't qualify and try and figure out a way to get them qualified. A lot of them are on the lease for so long waiting. We need to get them into homes. Thank you.
Mahalo. Mahalo, Representative. Now calling up Senator Samantha DeCourt.
Aloha mai kako, Chair, Trustees, thank you so much for having your first board meeting here on the west side, Nānākuli, which I will say that the 96792 houses the largest Native Hawaiian homestead population, so it was only right that you folks come here and hear our voices, and then you folks can kick off to other areas. I'll make this quick because I know we're up against time, and I believe there's about 10 people that are ready to testify. So if you don't mind, I would like to yield my time over to my community because I know that they came here to ask questions to OHA, hear from OHA, but please know that I'm gonna be here after. You can come to me if there's anything I can help with, if there's any areas that we can discuss or any issues that you have here on the west side, but I really do wanna give the time over to my constituents. So thank you and mahalo.
Mahalo. Mahalo, Anui. So with that, if there's no other government officials that would be interested in sharing any updates, we'll move on. Mahalo. Okay, we will now move on to community concerns and celebrations. Lehua, I see that we have a number of those that have signed up to testify. We will start off with the first. We have Kalanihoʻokahā Salcedo. Please join us at the mic.
Aloha, I'm Kalani Salcedo, Nihipali. What I'd like to see with DHHL and OHA, you know, for years, and I can say it was over 100 years, I've been hearing that the fight been going on. We'd like to have a culture center, a cultural arts center in our community. You get Portuguese, you get Filipino, you get Chinese, you get Korean. Where's the Hawaiians? Oh wait, no more. Okay. You have our center. I'm not asking just for one. I'm asking for several. Every moku should have one. And I'm not asking where it be close to Makai. I want Maukasai. Because if we have some kind of hurricane, tsunami, the center is going to be lower. We want it up to Mauka. Why I said Mauka? That's where our hearts is. That's where the land, that's where our lo'i should be. And every culture center, we should have that. Teaching our children, our keikis nowadays, how to farm, allowing our kupunas to come and share their ike. From weaving to whatever we need, we learned it from when we was younger. It's all forgotten. I see kupunas who's been telling me, we've been fighting for how many years? I seen kupunas come and go on this earth. I put kupunas to rest. when are you going to help our community, the whole 96792? Enough Hawaiians we've been losing on the list, dying on the list. At least you can do is give the generation, future generation, the hope to continue working with the kupunas so they can see and feel the ike, the knowledge that they have for do weaving, whatever it takes. That's what we need. We don't need no more transitionals or this like that. We don't need that. Mental health and stuff like that. We need to be having a foundation, a strong root where we can teach the children and allowing our kupunas and allowing the community to gather, working towards pono. Right now, you get so much pilikia, huki, fighting. Enough of the fighting. Let's work together. From Kai Point all the way to Kahena Point, away no more Hawaiian culture, art, nothing for our community. We get learning schools, we get different facilities. I like to ask you folks and challenge you folks to work together and for once do something for the 96792 in our community, a Hawaiian culture art center. And letting our kids know there is more. In every kupuna's mind and hearts, we can teach them what we learned it. They're lost. You have to help them find themselves. And for every Hawaiian out there, to find ourselves, we all know we have to find our inner spirit first. What we need to heal when we are we. And how do we teach the younger generation to teach them? It's not just to talk waha. It's to show them. We learn for the future what happened in the past. It went wrong in the past. Oh, only don't do it. Let's look at the future and how can we better it. It's not our generation. It's our grandchildren and generation to come and great-grandchildren. They're the future. We're just still fighting that the fight never ends. Because our mama and papa never continue to fight. They gave up. I'm not giving up, but we got to get in together because that is your grandchildren and your children to come. Enough of the fighting. Let's work together and imua together. The pilikia, we don't need any kings and queens. My kings and queens are resting. What we need is positive leadership. And you folks are the positive leadership. I'm asking you folks, don't not wait till another kupuna lehi said, I'll wait, I got more way. Don't do that. Continue. The root started right now. The foundation is what we create for the future. A Hawaiian culture center, art culture center, where our generation and little kids, our keikis, can learn and stop fighting about this politics. It shouldn't be about politics. It should be our inner spirit working to find pono. Cho way to pilau. You get pilau, go to the ocean, go wash off. But when it comes to our community, please open your hearts. That's all I'm saying. We tired hurting. Give us our culture center, our art culture center, and you'll see the healing. Mahalo.
Mahalo.
I just wanted to comment on that. I totally agree, and I think we need cultural centers in Ahupua'a across the state. But an important piece of that would also be the legislature. And we have our area legislators here, and the state CIP projects are where it can start, and OHA can be a partner. DHHL can be the partner because they have the land. So we want to work with the area legislators here that know the community best, and we can work together on that. And we need to bring it to fruition. So mahalo.
Mahalo. And our next testifier is Austin Salcedo.
Aloha, trustees. My name is Austin Salcedo. I'm a Keiki born on the west side. Born, raised, went to school, now retired on the west side. But I'll put emphasis on what my wife, Kale Nihipali Salcedo, has said. We have to put emphasis and encourage this movement because we don't have anything. The Hawaiians on this area deserves better than what we don't have at all, at the most. But in support of what she has mentioned, let me put emphasis on this. I'm a member, my wife and I are members of the Makaha Hawaiian Civic Club. This is what they have put out and supported because we put a motion on this on the floor and was accepted unanimously. Now we're bringing it forward. Dear OHA trustees, on behalf of the Makaha Hawaiian Civic Club, I am proud to express our full and unwavering support for the Salcedo's Ohana in their vision and efforts to establish a Hawaiian Cultural Center on the west side. This center represents a vital step towards the preservation, perpetuation of native Hawaiian culture, traditions, and practice. It will serve as a living resource for our community, featuring native Hawaiian plants, traditional healing, culture education, and engagement across generations, from keiki to kupunas. In addition to serving a vibrant cultural hub, it is our hope that the center will be designated as an evacuation site and fire mitigation resource. A visionary and deeply needed solution for our West Side community as the threat of wildfires and other climate-related emergencies continue to grow. It is crucial that our communities develop localized, culturally rooted spaces of refuge and response. We fully support the Salcedo's Ohana forward-thinking approach and commend their ongoing collaboration with the legislative leaders. Together, they are taking bold, necessary steps to protect and empower our lehui. Mahalo nui noa, Mele Langford, President, Makaha Hawaiian Civic Club. I took this, presented to you folks, to accept, present. This is the question I asked and to support of this. Not only that too, but I had reached out to our Hawaiian homestead officials, elected officials, in the area of Waiʻanae, Hawaiian homestead. Jen Kapeka, she's in the house because I went through the area. Please, that I call your name, please stand up in representation for the president of your Hawaiian Homestead Association. Princess Keahano, Hawaiian Homestead. Naomi Hanohano, if she's not present, please represent him. Uncle Paulie, is he in the house? Okay. Nānākuli Hawaiian Homestead. Lehi Eli is a representative in there? Okay. Nānākuli Hawaiian Homestead. Josiah, a.k.a. Uncle Black. Hu'uli. Julian Kirkland, are you in the house, please? Okay. And Kapole Hawaiian Homestead. Kaupe'e area, President Yevalani McBriar in the house, thank you. Kanihili area, President Randy Akau, President, the wife, Auntie Jody. For any all of this that I had mentioned right now, our Hawaiian Homestead recipients and the officials, do we support this initiative? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All not in favor, say nay. I think we have a unanimous decision for you folks in our presentation for to conclude a first meeting with all our officials, elected officials of our neighborhood board, to come before our trustees of OHA. Can we have a scheduled meeting with you folks to present what is the consensus of our area and where we need it? Because, like my wife said, we need a refuge area up in our Mauka area. because we need someplace to run. This past tsunami warning, nobody had. Makaha Valley, Representative Moroka took a whole bunch of people up in Makaha Valley. It was congested. So if we can vacate one area, Waiʻanae Valley, Lulole, kind of flat land, Nānākuli, we need area so we can find refuge for our Hawaiian homestead, and more so people on the Makai side, on the Farrington Highway area, that's on the lowlands. They'll be devastated. We have no place to run because Black Rock area, that's our funnel area. Kolikoli Pass, they just opened up emergency. Everything will be funneled to these two locations. It'll be catastrophe in our area. So I ask you, trustees, please support this initiative, have this meeting so we can actually find out all the land that we can utilize, develop for the people of the west side, the 96792. We have support from Kapolei. They came from the west side. They had to migrate outside into the Kapolei area. So I ask you to support. Please schedule this meeting and have our elected official bodies that represents the homesteads come forward and come up to a consensus where we can identify the lands, but most of our legislation, so they don't know what to write, the pala, the ink to the paper. And working on financial support, the lands that we can tap in with border water supply, DLNR, they have lands that they officiate and control. We need to tap into their resource and partner up that we can have our own for our area. Any questions, please ask freely. Thank you.
Mahalo. I know you mentioned DLNR, and we find that most oftentimes the lands of DLNR, the Department of Land and Natural Resources, are our crown and government lands of our Hawaiian kingdom, and that's where ʻOʻahu is constitutionally mandated to have a voice when it comes to these lands.
Let's tap into the resource. Thank you, Trustee Oʻahu. Appreciate that.
Mahalo.
Aloha.
Nui.
Aloha to all.
Mahalo. Aloha. The next testifier is Kaniala Victor. Aloha.
That's it. Kaniala. This facility came here the past summer to learn board and stone, how to make our own pohaku ku'iai and our papa ku'iai with my family. During this class, we had to leave our moku because we don't have everything we need in our community to build our family, our papas. We had to go outside all the way across the island. It was a beautiful experience coming here and learning with my family. And I tell you, all of our family should have this experience. But we need one center for do this. Also, me and my family, we take olelo at night classes. It's not available everywhere. And many of the classes, none of us here know about, but we need a center. And with Kamehameha schools is under attack. That's less seats for Kanakas for learn our culture and our language. There's less Hawaiians gonna be learning. We need a place for do that we all can go to, not just the youth, but the adults, so we can learn our culture and our language. I taught last year across the street at Waiʻanae how to make emus to the youths. Not all of them knew what an emu was. They don't know where Kalua pig come from. So I think so that's something we can learn. Can teach them for la'au la'au, make emus, for cook, papa ku'iai, all of that. That's something that our community need. Thank you.
Mahalo. Mahalo, Kaniala. I see that we have many in attendance inside, but we also have those in attendance outside. So I want to acknowledge those that are seated outside and encourage all that are inside and outside to please sign in and let us know that you are here in attendance with us so that we can keep in touch with you and so that we know that your presence is here with us this evening. And on top of that, I did see our former COO Kehaupu'u out there as well. Yeah, so she is now with the Honolulu City and County as the Deputy Director of Parks and Recreation. Oh, there she is. Okay. Aloha kehau. Our next testifier is Jermaine Myers.
Mahalo, trustees, for the opportunity to testify on community concerns. Kalanihoʻokahā Hawaiian Focused Charter Public School. Mahalo for giving them an increase in funding for this coming fiscal year, biennium fiscal year. So I don't know, many people know, they normally receive $400,000, but OHA has increased it to a little over $500,000. And so I am just so grateful for that. Last year, Kalanihoʻokahā, it's a Hawaiian-focused charter public school in Nānākuli, had 700 students enrolled, of which 600 were Hawaiians. Kamaile Elementary, another Hawaiian-focused charter public school in Waiʻanae, had 900 students enrolled, of which 500 were Hawaiians. These are the highest amount of Hawaiian keiki enrollment in any moku in the state of Hawaii in a Hawaiian-focused public charter school. For me, that gives all of us a clear message that parents in Waiʻanae moku value Hawaiian-focused elementary education and ʻōlelo Hawaii for their keiki. And I believe that that next year, since it's already done, that a site visit should happen at Kalanihoʻokahā. And Kalanihoʻokahā is in very much need a lot of CIP funds because they have an old school, but they service so many of our Hawaiian students. And I bring up Kalanihoʻokahā and what Waiʻanae moku means to me as far as how the parents believe that their children should have Hawaiian education is to show how the community members have just spoken up for a Hawaiian Culture Center. It shows me, and I hope it shows you, that our community on Waiʻanae coast of Oʻahu values Hawaiian culture, values Hawaiian education, values speaking ʻōlelo Hawaii. And when I remember when the Renaissance first started, as far as we finding our identity, because I was one of those that my grandparents did not teach her children, her 14 Native Hawaiian children, on mom's side, just starting with that we were not going to be told how to speak Hawaiian, even though my grandparents spoke fluent Hawaiian every day to one another. And so we know the culture history behind it, but it's about, again, changing the next generation. And I think our community has given a clear message that they were part of the Renaissance. I remember many carpooling to go to town for the first Hawaiian public charter school. And I think many people in many hands, Kapua, my very good friend, she was one of them, and many others. And so I just wanted to bring that, highlight that especially. And the last thing I wanted to bring up is my concern about apples and orange comparisons when it comes to DHHL. So we were told about a $600,000 for a traditional home compared to a $450,000 modular home. Many of us are concerned about the high price. But I think what I'm concerned about most is that DHHL was created to execute the Hawaiian Homes Commission Act. And the Hawaiian Homes Commission Act is about homesteading. And if we just look at the name DHHL, Department of Hawaiian Homelands, it's Hawaiian Homelands, emphasis on lands. Lands for Hawaiians, for homesteading. Because the Hawaiian Homes Commission Act states Native Hawaiians on the wait list are to receive leases for a parcel of improved land for us Native Hawaiians to build what we can afford. Because the land is the most important thing. Living on the land, not living in a tenement, not living in a multi-family unit, high-rise, but living actually off the land. And our people on the Waiʻanae side value our homes and our land. And yes, many of us in the homestead have old homes. It's because of the unaffordability of Hawaii and multi-generations and the attack of, chronic drugs and all these things, which you know about because you get lots of studies about. But my concern is that the developers that Hawaiian Homelands is now partnering with are the biggest winners, not us beneficiary. Monies that are being asked for DHHL to use are public funds to pay for the developers to build the homes or the multifamily unit, skyrise, skyscrapers, whatever. So why the DHHL and its developers give us the home for free? Because we're paying them to build it. So why don't they give it to us for free? Because we all know we don't own the land. We are lessees. We lease the land, meaning why compare us to the outside? Because the outside is fee simple. When you see a $650,000 house, it's the land and the house. We never gonna have equity. We never can just take anybody off the street and ask them, okay, we wanna move to Las Vegas to buy our home. We have to find someone from the wait list. So we have all of these obstacles and restrictions. So I'm wondering why the direction has changed. Why is it not look like Nānākuli homestead, where each of the people, and I can take you around the homestead, you see that people? They just built that house in 2024. You see those people? They just built it up this year. My neighbor right across the street built the ADU. There was no developer involved. But when I see developers getting the money, getting the bonds, getting OHA money, I see them benefiting because then they sell us the house at $650,000. So I just wanted OHA to take these things into consideration. I apologize for going over time. Kia kuapu, God bless all of you.
Mahalo.
Yes. Thanks, Jermaine, for that. And I think one thing I wanted to highlight for everyone that Jermaine mentioned, and also Senator DeCourt mentioned, is this Ahupua'a on this side of the island has the highest concentration of Native Hawaiians on this island. We also have two of the largest charter schools on this side of the island. And OHA, in its most recently adopted budget, awarded the most money ever to the two Native Hawaiian focused charter schools in this district. And just to put that into perspective, this year in FY26, $425,900 for Kawaiʻhona Charter School and $424,300 for Kamaile Academy. And over the course of the biennium, which is 2 fiscal years, it's almost 1.3 million for just those two Hawaiian-focused charter schools. And as our senators and representatives will know, charter schools don't get a lot of money from the ledge, whether it's per pupil funding or competing with the Department of Education. So when people ask, what does OHA do for us? Those two charter schools, we made a major impact in their financial support. And part of it is because of people like Kalehua and others in the community that came out and advocated for those schools in the budget. So just wanted this community to know that the work that this board did for those two Hawaiian-focused charter schools. Thank you, Jermaine.
Mahalo. Next testifier is Shelby Pikachu, billionaire.
Aloha mai kako, everyone. Konbanwa, konnichiwa. Pikachu, Shelby, billionaire, back again. We're live on Kikyo Kalani. Thank you, Olelo TV, who trained me to be here. Thank you very much. So I went over the boring solutions that I already emailed you. So now we can talk about real community concerns. Thank you very much. So I have 4 solutions to bring up tonight. And don't worry, I'll keep it in time. Thank you for giving me 5 minutes. I only get 1 minute, City Council. 3 minutes at Police Commission, 2 minutes if I'm lucky. So 5 minutes, we'll get this done. So number one, I want to address Nahasda funds. Most Kanaka Maoli have no idea what the heck Nahasda means. But that's annual funds that come in, and like I said before in my earlier testimony, Auntie Jody Akau and Randy Akau, they are the presidents of the Kaneohe Community Association, which has 403 beneficiaries. So they asked through the recommendation of the South Statos, because I'm very active in legislation, as Chair Kahele knows, for the CIP projects. The capital improvement project is the big money stuff that has to go through finance and ways and means. You've never been to the capital before. So you have to pass them all, and if you're Democratic, someone's chairing your bill, you probably get it passed. If you're Republican, they're going to say no like an elephant. So we have to be real for all of you. But with the Nahasda funds, it comes up annually, meaning you can use it for a Tesla wall. You can use it for infrastructure. We just asked for $800,000 to build a wall where the junk rail is, and where that wall ends, they're going to finish that wall right there because they want to build a community center over there. So that's why I want to propose to my solution number 2, which is a Native Hawaiian Cultural Center, because we're already protecting the wall for the asset from drunk drivers and fires. So I'd like to propose that as the first location for your Native Hawaiian Culture Center, right across DHHL by the fire station, right in that empty lot right there. Okay. And now, how to get Nahasda funds. This is for more of the people, not for the board. So I realized if you go as an individual, you're going to have the income limits, the credit, the 20% down payment. It's hard to qualify. However, if you make a nonprofit association, like Nānākuli Homestead Association, Kali Watson showed as an example, like Auntie Jody and Randy Akau did, because as an association, if we did for Lualua Homeland, we could apply. You would be elected by the board, and you guys choose for each homestead association in all the islands. Then we can apply for this every year for your Nahasda funds. So I want you guys all to think about this, because you can create your own homestead association, organize, unify, and apply. Then you need someone smart like Mr. Aquino over there for your accountability, management, and finance. You just can't blow the money on stupid stuff. When you actually applied for the application on the Nahasda, I filled it out in 5 minutes. It was the easiest thing to ask for $800,000 to build a wall. It sounds really crazy, but I did it under Randy Akau's laptop. Well, now the paperwork was a lot longer because we had to make meetings and blah, 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 blah. They wouldn't even let it get on the agenda for DHHL. We had to put binders together, put the proposal, but you guys can do it too, and I'm willing to help you guys for next year because this happens annually if you guys want to organize, apply, and unify. Number 3, legislation. So because it's going to be active for 2026, reps like Rep. Chris Moroka, who I adore and love, we wrote a bill for human trafficking. It didn't get passed. We're going to rewrite it. But reps, the 51, only get 10 shots. The senators, like Senator Samantha DeCourt, has unlimited bill writing abilities. So when you guys are thinking about who's going to write bills for you or these big stuff, you should be focusing on the senators. There's only 25. Doesn't matter if you're a donkey or elephant, you give them a call, tell them you're for the west side, best side, bro, I need this done. Like yesterday. You have to, push that for active legislation because we need your guys' help support when it comes to this stuff. They don't really read it all, but if you pull up the numbers, and this is where ʻaʻaha as the board, you can help. If you give those example testimonials, put it out through the email, we can copy and paste. Then I can put Shelby Pikachu Bill on the bottom and then put the same stuff. We just got to boost the numbers that we're cheating. Okay, we're just copying the paperwork like old school, okay, like last millennium. All right, number 4 solution for your housing with my last minute. So we were discussing container homes on Maui with Eddie Garcia. He can get 20-foot container homes for $3,000, a 40-foot container for $6,000. You can put that on wheels, put it on a trailer. So when you have your land, you can do that however you want, like Texas, like it shows on National Geographic and the TV, because that's cheaper per square footage. But some people tried to cheat us. We're in Lahaina with Uncle Junior Nakoa and stuff, bringing this modular stuff. But when we start doing the math, and I'm Asian, they're going $600, $700 a square foot. When we just did the container home on wheels, if you guys have been to Big Island, bro, they cheat all the time. They're already off the grid. They're not paying no taxes. Some of that wood is rotting, but we can do container homes on wheels. So that's my solution. I know my time is running up, so thank you very much, and I'll see you guys in the Capitol.
Mahalo. Next up is Valerie Mae Manoa.
Aloha mai kako. I'm not as entertaining as Pikachu is, but I want to mahalo all of our trustees for coming out to the west side. Mahalo very much for all of the work that has been done to set up this area, and for all of those on this site who had was able to make this happen. There were so many ways I was thinking of coming into my testimony or whatever it is. Yes, there might be community concern, but also celebrations. So I am a kumu, a Kawaiʻanae, and I want to mahalo you folks for the funds that were presented. I have been teaching, let me back up. I've been in education for over 30 years. So I've taught up at Nānākuli Elementary School. I did venture out at in the Aiea area, came back home because I realized, sometimes you have to go away to realize where the treasures are. I also taught at Kamaile. I was a vice principal there too, so mahalo. I also worked with preschool. So I was the preschool director for several years on Noholio Road. So I have a vast knowledge, and not to gloat about it, but I have seen many things happening in education, and I have always wanted to be at a charter school where we focus on Hawaiian culture. With our brother who came up to talk about Papa Ku'iai, we do that at our school. When he talked about the imu, the haumana do it at least 1 or 2 times a year, and they know how to prepare. Our haumana are lawaiʻa. They go out and they fish. And that's because of the funds that are provided by you and other organizations to make this happen. I grew up on the Big Island, so I'm a graduate of Konawaina. I always tell people I thought I was Hawaiian until I moved to Nānākuli. Then I realized Hawaiians actually have a language that I didn't know, because my grandmother, who spoke Hawaiian, was not able to share that ike with us. And so I do appreciate the funds that's offered at Kawaiʻanae. Our students are so grateful for the opportunity that they have to learn about their culture, to understand, and I'm not going to go into it, but the history of being a sovereign nation. And I'm going to stop at that because that conversation may go further. Being on the campus of Kalanihoʻokahā is also precious to me as an educator because my mother taught there. And so when we talk about culture and traditions, looking at 7 generations back and beyond and 7 generations forward, when I walk on Kalanihoʻokahā, I think of my mother walking the same sidewalk. I was there as a kindergartner as she was a kumu there. And that brings me a lot of aloha for those that want to support our Hawaiian children. Yes, we have the largest population of Kanaka in this area. And I think overall what I want to say is that more support is given to this area. Not only to the schools, but the homesteads, to the cemeteries that are in this area, to the cultural area. The other part that I wanted to share with you is I'm also on the neighborhood board, so I'm the vice chair. I'm the chair for the education committee, so you know I'm going to go forward with that. I'm also with the chair of the land and water. I'm an Aina worker. I work in the mala, so kalamaya, but my kalipa, I couldn't wear the fancy shoes because I was coming straight from Kula. But it's important that we understand the importance of Aina. Aina is our ali'i, and we are its stewards. And we have to understand that anything coming into our area, that the people who come in understand the value of our Aina. We've had so many people, investors, outside organizations coming into our land and water committee, and it's not even our local Kanaka. It's outsiders, this telecommunication cable, the gondola that's on the other side of Mauna Ka'ala, right? All of these other outsiders that are coming in and they think they're improving the land for us. A'ole pono. We know how to improve our land. Leave us alone. Stop telling us how to use the land, because we know how to honor our land, because all they're going to do is use our land. E kalamaia'u. One more thing, I want to mahalo you for supporting Alulike for the Kohopono program, because I was part of that last year as a 3rd grade kumu. And I also support the Nānākuli Alulike program. So the mala that's out there is what I helped Val Crabb and her team to develop 2 summers ago. There's so much more I want to share, but aole minuke. So I just want to aloha and celebrate us as being Kanaka, and keep in your minds that we are the largest Hawaiian population. And if anything should come across in the moku o Waiʻanae, that we give the, and it sounds selfish, but that we give the best value for our kanaka and our aina, our akua, our mo'olelo, our traditions of Hawaii, and that we keep this area sanctified, that we don't have outsiders feel that they can control the land. Because a'ole, we have to make a stand. So decisions that you should make and continue to make, please remember that, which I know you will be because of all the offerings that you have given, especially to our children. Because they are the ones that, I tell my haumana, if they don't understand the culture, Hawaiian culture, it dies with them. So mahalo nui loa for letting me share.
Mahalo. Next up to testify is Christopher Oliveira.
Ano ai la kone o Christopher Oliveira ne wau he kupukaina pa akuma o Waiʻanae e akuli iwi aina hano. Aloha board. I am here to, well, first I would like to just recognize my kupuna, Glenn Kila, and all the work he's done on the coast with the schools and with our iwi and with our culture. I think it's important that we recognize our kupuna first. I would also like to recognize Auntie Agnes, who is also a kia'i for our iwi kupuna, and as well as Uncle Kamaki Kanele. So aloha. My issue is, for the last 2 years, burials have been popping out on state-owned land, Department of Parks and Rec, and we've been trying to work directly with SHPTI to mitigate these burials, because a lot of them are on our old family lands. The biggest issue we're having right now is that SHPTI is unable to manage the EV that it's charged with managing. And what happens is it falls on the families of these burial sites to manage these burials. Fortunately, because my kupuna has worked with SHPTI for the last 40 years, we have different privileges when it comes to managing our EV because we're recognized and they know this is our EV. Unfortunately, we are charged with remitigating all the burials. We have volunteer archaeologists that come in to help free of charge because they love us. I am right now sleeping next to all our kupuna. Is curated in my house. This has been happening for the last better half of 14 years, that we have to be in charge of managing EV from lands that was taken from our families. And not in 1893, in 1933, all of this happened to us. We get dispossessed of our mana. It's so hard for me because when we work with the military, they are so on it. When we have counsel with them, they actually implement what we say. But when we're talking about our iwi kupuna that's coming out naturally, we get no attention. But when we get iwi kupuna in one museum somewhere, oh, wow, everybody shows up. And it's upsetting for me at Kalamaʻiʻa'u because we get no attention. What's the difference between that kupuna and the kupuna in the museum? How come when the kupuna get development over it, then everybody come out and back it up? But when the wave pushing them out and we get kupuna holahi ikala, how come, where is everybody then? So with saying that, I just want to say we're going to be reaching out to Oʻahu to help us start to fund and manage the coastline because as more wave action happen, more of our burial grounds are getting exposed. And these burial grounds are some of the oldest burials in the state of Hawaii. And that's a big issue for me because if it wasn't taken from us, we'd be managing those burials. Yeah. And then secondly, I would like to talk about an illegal development happening up in Makaha Valley at the Makaha Sheraton. They have no permits. KH Group from Korea, foreign investment coming back into our community for build 100 plus. Gentleman Estates. Wow, right down the road in Lahaina Street, you get to the most dangerous street on the coast. And they call it my ya'u for my passion, but it feels real disingenuous when we're celebrating all of this stuff that Oʻahu has done. When I live over there and we are getting worse, why are we not talking about the disparities in our community? Yeah, victories in little wars. We're losing the war, we win the battle, we're losing the war. How much of our kids gonna die? Yeah, this is the problem with the state of affairs of our community. Largest Native Hawaiian community because we are the largest poverty community. The only place we can afford to live is here. Yeah, and the Waiʻanae family is not even here anymore. They have diaspora. Everybody from over here is not lineal descendants mostly. So now you get this whole diaspora, 10-year revolving door in our community. Who is our community at this point? What is Waiʻanae? All of our keystone families, almost all of them are gone. Where's the kupuna? And not just that, we're not just losing our kupuna, we're losing our kids on the coast. Nobody's talking about the extreme violence that is happening with our kids. I had to quit Waiʻanae High School 2019. It was so hard for me work over there. Every year when our kid died. And nobody said nothing. So not to go over my time, mahalo, sorry for screaming, aloha.
Mahalo for what you're sharing in the passion. I do want to share with you, and I'm sure that we have another trustee more that can speak on it. When it comes to our iwi kupuna, this remains a top priority for us at the Office of Hawaiian Affairs, and we will continue to advocate legislatively with SHPTI, with DLNR. If there has been no one from the Office of Hawaiian Affairs that has been in contact with you, we have your contact information. If you're open to, we would like to work with you. Mahalo. Mahalo. Ahuna. Down. Okay. Mahalo. Next testifier is Kapua Ketli'i Koa Kamai.
Aloha, o wau kapua kili I koa kamai, no ka aina ho o pula pula ka awawa Waiʻanae mai au. Mahalo ia o ko ua hele mai I mako kaya ulu, mahalo nui. Thank you for coming and putting together this meeting, especially you, Kale. Mahalo nui. I wanted to speak regarding DHHL. You know, they are doing good things. Kali is doing good things, but sometimes we just have to remember that he needs to separate his past life as a developer and the developers that he's using or the methods that he's using now. So that's why I continue to participate, to engage at the Hawaiian Homes Commission meetings. It has been quite a while since I've engaged with you folks at Oʻahu. Regarding the geothermal. You know, whenever anything happens in a community, the community should have a beneficiary consultation, like Jermaine has already shared. Because it's important for us to get behind it, or to get to know about it, or to understand why the way that we feel needs to be adjusted, or we need to be better informed. You know, because it is a sensitive thing when you come to geothermal. You know, because we are talking about our pele. We are talking about our aina. So that is something that I hope that we can get the department to come and engage with us. I want to thank you folks for your continued financial partnership with the department. We depend upon that. I'm not sure how much you folks are still giving for the revolving fund, $3 million. I thought at one time it was maybe 10 million, but just the 3 million now. So I'm hoping that maybe you folks can increase that, because under Kali's development plans, he's ready to move. He is moving, you know, and so he needs more of that support. And one of the partnerships I think that we could use which was started, this discussion was early on because I remember going to Shaw Conference back in the early 2000s, and we were talking about kaka'ako, acquiring kaka'ako, and how the office would do their due diligence and make sure that it was a good deal for us. And so me sitting in that convention, it was like, yeah, let's make sure you guys do it, because from what Oʻahu was saying, we were not going to get stuck holding the bag. Unfortunately, I think we are stuck holding that bag. We haven't been able to develop what we want, what we need for us as a people to move forward behind the office. And so what has been suggested in the past is to partner with the department to build homes in kaka'ako for Hawaiian beneficiaries, which, if I'm not mistaken, we can exempt the zoning laws because we are kupa'aina of this aina. So, you know, however we need to make that happen, we need to put Hawaiians first. And as much as we all want the best dollar, Hawaiians, we will give you $1, those dollars that we have, but it won't be all the dollars that you folks would like all the millionaire homes that are across the street. They could block the view planes, but no, we cannot. But this is what Oʻahu had agreed to way back when. So Oʻahu needs to figure out, continue to figure out, how are we going to break that wall? Let me see real quickly, anything else? The Ceded Lands Trust, you know, let's continue to work on that to make sure that we get every penny that we deserve, even if it means taking them to court, like the Nelson case. You know, do what we have to do and hold them accountable. Mahalo nui, you folks drive safe and continue working. Aloha.
Mahalo for your testimony, and just for the individuals listening, Oʻahu appropriates every year $3 million to the Department of Hawaiian Homelands, and it has been doing that for at least, Chair Hulu, 2 decades. And part of that $6 million that we appropriate over a 2-year period, and we do it every single biennium, is it pays the debt service on what DHHL has used to borrow funds in the past to do infrastructure development in projects. So that's one of the things that we do with DHHL. And if you think about it, $3 million out of our trust funds, out of a $50 million annual budget, is pretty significant for the Department of Hawaiian Homelands. And we're looking at other ways to partner with them as well. So mahalo.
And to add to that, I'd mentioned it before, but I want to mention again, that's totaled over $90 million to DHHL's debt service. And if you think about it, all these years, we've been, in terms of what we have been receiving in a pro rata share from the legislature, from what is supposed to be the 20% of our, I don't care for the term public land trust, because we all know that these are our native Hawaiian Crown and government lands of our Hawaiian kingdom. And we found in our due diligence, we're getting closer to 3 to 4, maybe 5% of that. So we continue to advocate on that, and we've been receiving 15.1 million all these years, and we're able to get it up to 21.5. It should be closer to way over $80 million, and that doesn't even include inflation, at the very least. So that's where we really need your voices to gather and support our legislators to be able to advocate on behalf of our beneficiaries, our Native Hawaiian community, so that we are able to do more of what we're set out to do with our shared kuleana. Okay, next testifier is Patty Teruya.
Aloha kākou. Thank you so much, OHA trustees, for visiting Nānākuli. We truly appreciate you making this long trip here. I know the traffic was maybe over an hour, but now you know what we endure when we come out to Waiʻanae. Thank you so much. Aloha, community beneficiaries and staff, thank you so much. Thank you. I just want to recognize my kumu, Valerie Manoa, and hunchback on her. And, you know, I speak on behalf of Waiʻanae Coast Community Foundation, and we are a partnership with Kawaiona. And I wanted to express to the trustees to thank you and mahalo you for the grant process that you have in place. Last year, we were privileged to have a grant from OHA, and the process was so easy. Their staff was so helpful to maneuver the paperwork, and we went to OHA to visit. But the whole process of applying the grant was a lot more easier than years. This was our first time grant, and we were a nonprofit since 2004. So we tried many times to get grants from OHA. It was very difficult. But I just wanted to mahalo you, mahalo to the chair of grants and the committee, and thank you for supporting us. We are planning the 7th annual Prince Kuhio. It's a legacy event at Kalanihoʻokahā Beach Park. This is for next year, but we're planning this year. We're in partnership with our kumu and Kawaiona and other organizations to put this together. So I just really want to mahalo. When they say OHA, oh, OHA don't do anything. They do. And they do for our community. So we have the March 2026 7th Annual Legacy Prince Kuhio Festival at Kalanihoʻokahā Beach Park. The other thing that I also wanted to bring up, I have my notes here, is when I'm glad, I don't know, Kalifos left the HHL, but when you talk about scattered lands, it's not scattered lands, it's called abandoned lands. Okay, and so from Molokaʻi, Kalamaʻula to Nānākuli Homestead, these are all abandoned homes that sit in your community on DHHL property for years. We have had a home over 21 years abandoned. So it's not scattered lots, it's abandoned lots. And it's, I'm glad that they are trying to revive these homes, and this can help the wait list, you know, to get families into these homes. But it needs to be repaired in our community because it's a sight of sore eyes in all of our community island-wide when you have boards all covered up and weeds all going into the property. So these are called abandoned lots, and it is really bad. I just also wanted to refresh OHA trustees. On Act 279, when it was established with Governor Ige in 2022, there were a lot of projects that went in. We had the opportunity to put in for Waiʻanae Moku in Maili Development. In a Maili Development, which is DHHL property, we would have had 147 homes in Maili Development under Act 279. We allocated $35 million. As a former commissioner, I fought and pushed this for Waiʻanae. And the $35 million was for design, construction, excavation, filling. And so the $35 million was secured for Maili Development. In 2023, when the new chairman came in, the $35 million disappeared. So Waiʻanae Moku, we had 3 consultations according to the Hawaiian Homestead Act. We had 3 consultations on this project under Act 279. Ladies and gentlemen, today, Waiʻanae Moku, you don't have any projects from Act 279 from the $600 million project. So I needed to bring this to your attention, the largest native Hawaiian homestead, your $35 million, your Maili project here, 19.5 acres are still sitting there rumbled with keawe trees and rubbish. So the $600 million went to other islands, went probably other communities, and so we were left out. And I need to say that because it's very painful when Waiʻanae community gets left out of something like that. And I wanted to bring it to your attention. At this last past legislature, I did speak against the ledge providing another $600 million. And people told me, why do you do that? It was about accountability. It was about accountability on Act 279 and to explain to beneficiaries and the legislators exactly where the projects are. I know Maui, you folks have a lot of projects out there going. and other communities. But for Waiʻanae Moku, we don't have the Maile development. It's still sitting there, but next to Ulukekekui, it's still empty, and it's very painful for us that we don't have the opportunity of having some of the funding going into our community. Real quick, I'm going to close. The Nahaza funding, as people say, it's easy. It's not an easy grant to get Nahaza funding. We have helped many, many kupunas in our homestead. One of the oldest homestead is Nānākuli. Many of the houses, Auntie Jean, you know, Kirkland, their houses are decapitated, they got diabetes, they lost their legs, they need wheelchair ramps. We have tried so hard with DHHL to get Nahaza funding to help our kupunas to get these funding. 2.5 years, your wait. It was really, really difficult. And so it's not that easy to get the Nahaza funding from DHHL. It is just hard for our elder kupunas to get their house fixed. Nahaza funding is a rehabilitation funds. It is supposed to be used to rehabilitate your home or things that you need repaired. I just wanted to kind of give you the background. So anyway, I'm going to close. My time is up. Thank you so much, trustees. Thank you very much. And community, drive safe and aloha. Thank you.
Thanks, Auntie Patty. I want to highlight one thing Auntie Patty said. And Mark, are you controlling the computer? Can you pull up the Hoʻakoʻa OHA page? So what Auntie Patty is referring to is OHA annually puts hundreds of thousands of dollars to community events, and it's known as our Hoʻakoʻa Lahui event sponsorship program. In this year's budget alone, there's $635,000 that we fund events across the state. The Leeward Kai Canoe Club, Alfred Van Giesen, Father's Day, huge regatta. OHA was a big sponsor of that. The event Auntie Patty talked about. So this, our website here, we do grants on a quarterly basis. The Q4, which is if you have an event between April 2026 and June 2026, that application portal opens in a few weeks on 1 October. It closes December 1st. So if you have an event up to $15,000, you can that serves the Lahui, you can apply here. Keishan, our Chief Operations Officer, oversees the division that screens the applicants, and this is a way that you can have your event funded. And we do legacy sponsorships, and we do a number of community events across the Pai'aina. So if you have an event that you want to apply for, please do so. We want to distribute these funds to our community. Mahalo, Auntie Patty.
Mahalo. And I also want to thank Auntie Patty for when attending Samantha DeCourt, your town hall. Auntie Patty was one of the very excited community members that said, let me know, I want to get the word out on your Oʻahu Island community meeting, as well as Kana back there. So mahalo. All right, next testifier is Paul Ayo.
I believe I might be the last speaker. Am I the last one? Nope. No, I'm not. Okay,
We
good.
had two more.
Anyway, I'm Paul Ayo. I live in Second Road. Second Road is Lepeka Avenue, right here in Nānākuli. I'm not a resident, homegrown Nānākuli resident. Kalihi Valley, Lanakila, housing. We waited for homestead while waiting in Lanakila housing. Finally got homestead, but it was Waimanalo. So here I am now on homestead land because my wife is a homesteader or a leasee, and she's a right. So I married the right girl on Second Road. Okay? Anyway, I belong to the Nānākuli Neighborhood Board, number 36. I'm one of the chairmen for the Public Safety and Parks and Recreation Committees. Okay? So I'm part of Nānākuli on the board level at the city side. Okay, not state, just city. The other thing I do here also, I'm a volunteer for the PAL program at the Parks and Recreation. I teach girls how to play volleyball. I'm a retired law enforcement officer, 43 years. I live here on Second Road. but I appreciate the whole OHA board being here. Seriously. I applaud you for being here tonight. All of you, even those that may not be here. But the fact that I'm here tonight was due to the newsletter that Mrs. Akaka, and I think we're related not by blood, but she's related to my Akaka side. Anyway, what I wanted to talk about was the first one was the SRO program. If you haven't heard about it or read the news about it in the newspaper, we need all of you there on that board to get in touch with your representatives from where you're at to encourage them to finance or push legislation to continue this pilot program. It's only a pilot program, but we want it to be a island-wide program. The program right now is only going to have Waiʻanae High School, Kapolei High School, and Kaimiki. It's already been in the paper. We're the ones who initiated it from Nānākuli side, though. And we didn't get a police officer at Nānākuli High School. Waiʻanae High School got it. Kapolei High School got a police officer. And Kaimiki High School got it in Honolulu. Somehow we got left off the dish. Or we're not on the dish. So that's my first plea, okay? And all you who are attending here, go and see your legislatures or legislative representatives. I've already been in touch with Mr. Kila. The last thing that everybody else brought up, I think the Salcedos brought it up, and some other speakers brought up, was the land that we really need is for, and that's the subject I was going to talk about. I got 2 minutes left. Nānākuli Regional Health and Wellness Center. If you've ever been to Washington, there's a Muckleshoot Indian tribe, nation, I should say, not tribe, Indian nation. They developed their own health, senior center, and recreation center, all combined into one huge facility. One for the kupunas and one for the keikis. It encompasses their health center for them, as well as their cultural center for the kupunas, as well as the kids. On the other side, the wellness center was football fields, softball fields, baseball field, swimming pool, tennis court, everything known to man as a recreational sport. And if you already passed Nānākuli Beach Park, it's too small. You can't do anything there because we don't have the proper equipment. We don't have the proper facility now. It's like a log jam. And everybody here in this room would tell you that. There's not enough parking. But this center sits right across where PVT sits in Lualua Valley. They got over 400-something acres of land. I think they bought it for $3.4 million back on record. And they're not doing anything with the land, so I asked the owner of the land if they were willing to sell it. His answer was, it's undeveloped land. Well, if it's undeveloped, then I guess we can develop it then. But anyway, that would be the site to have this particular recreational center, wellness center, because it would serve the whole coast of Nānākuli and Maili, because Lualua Road leads to Kolikoli Pass. Pa'akea Road leads to Lualua Road because it's going to be open 24/7 this year. And this site, the proposed or idea site, is located just mauka of where PVT is at. It would be a terrific location for evacuation center also, with buku or many parking, especially if you build a facility like this. You'll have umpteen amount and it could be used as an evacuation center. That's it. Thank you.
Mahalo. Next up is Mapuana Tector. Mapuana? Well, aloha. You can join us here in the mic.
Aloha, my name is Pouhana, Kalani, born and raised here. Thank you everybody for being here, taking out your time to be here like I did. I ran away from my family. My sister just came from Texas. I'm like, you're on your own. There's dinner, you know where everything else is. Just for the record, DHHL versus OHA, both good entities. Education, DHHL gives us finances, opportunities, clean your credit. Obviously, there's a major digital divide and age gaps. If it's not for my children, forget it. I will not use technology. Total anxiety. You guys provide scholarships for workshops, for the NAOPO, college, even other usage. I haven't seen any from DHHL. I believe they're for profit. Thank you that you guys consider them as giving them money. I'm sure they get their own too. But when they gave out or took people off of the names for the list, 600 recipients, give or take, couple A, because I stood in that long lines with my grandma and my auntie, cousin. Of that amount, they made $59,400 just that day. So why should they treat beneficiaries as fee simple? Application process, does it really take a lot? They could have done it online. What does OHA do? Offer opportunities to be documented like something as this. I appreciate that you guys gave like the annual notebooks. I can follow. It's easy to read. It's a hard copy. I'm a hard copy person. DHHL has not yet given any of us any transparencies. So I don't know how good of an influence you guys have to have them provide that for us. I have recently lost my mom, and I did find some of her DHHL books that showed the loans, what properties is leased to corporate, and how much money they make anyways. So even this parcel, we did the survey. I was part of that team for the survey under my brother, my late brother, Kimo Kili'i. And that's hard work, pounding the pavement. In education and what encompasses Hawaiian affairs on a neighborhood level is what I chair. My job is to educate our people. Bring the legislation to us. If you have a complaint, Uncle, sit down, bring my daughter. Okay, they're helping us with the computer process. So when we went there personally to have them come down, and I said, okay, can you attend my meeting? They never showed up. So I'm not sure what kind of influence that you guys can continue to have, but it's important. So I did go to college just for computers, but as fast as I learned, that's how fast I could delete my information as well. So please consider on a continuum this potential center in our community, your legacy that you can leave, that I can tell my grandchildren there was this meeting. You guys now can benefit and not feel intimidated to like say, I cannot use the computer. I wasn't able to submit my agenda or just technical reasons. But thank you so much for you guys' time. Appreciate it.
Mahalo. And the last testifier signed up is, did you say something? Lokana Keliikoa Pua. And speaking of Pua, mahalo anui for sharing the aloha this way with this most fragrant of lei.
Ai he mea iki wale no o lokana Keliikoa Pua. No mai au. Ho'opula pula. I know ho'opula pula. Ava ava. Waiʻanae. I'm from Waiʻanae Valley Homestead. But I'm here today to mahalo you folks for really coming out. It makes a difference. And as beautiful as this hall is, and thank you Auntie Aggie, and thank you community, like Tita was saying, her brother was one of those that pounded. He walked the streets to help to make this happen. But you know, today we had this presentation. Thank you, you folks. 5 minutes is a long time. In our own community board meetings, we get 2 minutes. 5 minutes is a long time to be heard, and yet there's so much to be said and shared. So thank you for that and allowing us to do this. Maybe as a learning opportunity, some of our presenters need to be mindful on the time, because INPEACE was ready to just back away because of the time that was taken from them, stolen from them. I'm going to say stolen. And when you hear what they do for our community, how awesome and great is that? And that is so enlightening to hear what INPEACE does for us. And I've been impacted by that. I have mo'opuna that they had come out to the home. You know, but they give so much community. They give culture, they give language. There's so much they give. So if you're connected and if you're able to donate to this nonprofit organization, please do so. But I'm here because I want to support also Kawaiʻhona. You know, I have a niece that have started to attend Kawaiʻhona, and she's been adopted by her grandparents. She makes them very proud, and that's our brother. And makes them proud because she has learned so much of the culture. We being military family, our father was in the service, we've been in and out. Finally, back in 73, we were able to settle in. We got our homestead in 77. I have 4 generations in that home, in my parents' home in Waiʻanae Valley. And that's only 48 years. But with the prices that's going up, I can imagine more generations will be in that home. But I'm here to support Kawaiʻhona because the proud, because of what they've learned there, that culture, that language. My brother was so proud, my sister-in-law. But I was even more touched this Sunday, teaching it in our Sunday school. And I knew that one young boy spoke Hawaiian because their team is all Hawaiian. So I just said a little bit because I only know a little. And did you see the eyes light up? Because the children, a lot of them go to Kawaiʻhona. And they was like, ask me how to speak. Ask me how to say, how are you, where I live. You know how much excitement that brought to see? And these keikis are like 5, 6, 7, and you see the other heads turn. Those that don't know the language. But when they hear the kumu, or they hear someone exchange, my gosh. And when brother said, we can learn, we have no excuse not to learn. It's free, it's online, it's in different places. But I just wanted to thank you folks for continuing to invest in culture like this. We talk about our community centers. That brings a lot of, you know, identity, language. Eola, what is it, Tita? Ola kamayo olelo Hawaiʻi. There's life in the language. That connects us, the identity. You know, we have so much violence wherever we at, but when it comes to Waiʻanae, boom, first page on the news for days and days. There's a lot of goodness that comes out of Waiʻanae, but that is never spoken about. But the language gives identity to our children. We know who our identity is, and that's our Lord Jesus Christ. But they need to know their language. And so thank you. Thank you for allowing this to happen. And Olelo, thank you for making it possible that it's now being broadcasted. You know, And I just wanted to say mahalo, because without you folks, you know, you making, as Tita was saying, accountability to DHHL, funds that are awarded to them. Accountability is necessary for each and every one of us. When funds are allotted and people, and this takes from one pocket to the other, we need to be accountable for that. So I just want to thank you, mahalo. And the traffic that you've experienced today is just minor. Hopefully you didn't get all those little accidents, because all you need is one stall and you backed up forever. One stall. But thank you, safe journeys back home. God bless you.
Mahalo, Anui. Mahalo. I don't believe we have any other testifiers unless we do. All right, we will now move on to announcements. Members, are there any announcements? Okay. I also wanted to acknowledge the lay from Pu'ala Mekil Heni from the Nānākuli homestead as well. Mahalo nui loa for attending. And also to note that we have the Blaze level of the Civil Beat in attendance. So mahalo anui for taking the time out of your evening, your day to make it out here to hear the needs and concerns of our Hawaiian people. Mahalo. Okay. So before we close too, I want to say mahalo nui to our trustees, our staff for attending. Mahalo to our facilities staff. Mahalo to all in attendance in person and virtually. Mahalo to those that will be viewing this meeting in the future. And please be on the lookout and ear out for our future Oʻahu Island community meetings before the year ends. Lehua, can I please have a roll call vote to adjourn?
Yes. Sorry. Started 4:30.
Aye, and I did hear a motion. Mahalo. Mahalo Lehua, the meeting is